What is up, YouTube? Oh, my Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And of course, as always, as you're chilling here hanging with us, take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily, and of course hop in our Discord. Link for that's in the description box down below.
Guys, thank you and welcome in April 13th, 2023. We got a lot of draft insight tonight, and as well as the family here tonight.
Hello and hi.
Talking our Cowboys as we do on the nightly or every other nightly right now. So we're gonna go through it all tonight, guys. Appreciate everybody joining us here, hitting that like, subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff. Discord, we got Twitter at MyCowboysFamily, on and on. So, as we do the intro and kind of get into this thing musicless right now.
I know, I feel like I should have been humming the beat there.
Yeah, we got to give it up to the people in the house to keep this thing
going. Give them
the
love, the support, the appreciation. Like the man, Mark
2 months.
Hosepian, guys.
8 weeks.
Thank you so much, Mark. Appreciate you, of course, representing as,
the
sponsor.
OG back there, yeah.
You want to say hi? Oh, anyway, guys, yes. Thank you, Mark Hosepian. Appreciate you not just representing as a sponsor of the month, bossing the stream around with 73 points.
A big old Tyler
up
Smith.
On the board,
you know, last year's #1 pick, draft coming around. We're going to talk draft. It's going to be very relative. That's 73 points in tonight's stream. We also have leaders here on this overall board to see who's a sponsor of the week/months. And right now, the man in the lead in command is Snug X. You know why.
You already know.
The Snug Man is here, and much love to him. I'm going to do some shout-outs here, some drops over the last 2 nights, that you guys, still have coming through here, so we truly appreciate every single person in the thing. So Snug X, he is currently the overall leader as we speak. And then we go over to the cash. Okay, he's in line for that sponsor of the week. He could be breaking that 8-week streak. We'll see what happens. And then also the Cash App side, the king of the Cash App, back-to-back like our 90s Cowboys. Jason Renfro, yes, always appreciate the man, Jason Renfro. You see him here replacing the wife for a second. That 54, that Randy White jersey from the 80s, he won it right here. My Cowboys family, much love to Jason Renfro and all the love and support from him. But we do have a couple of drops that came through, guys, in the Cash App /Venmo side. Of course, Snug X also dropped the love in the Venmo side, which adds to the Cash App. I want to make sure everybody understands that. Whether it's Cash App or Venmo, it's still the Cash App king, the Venmo king. So right now, Jason Renfro, that might be the last time we see the Cash App side of things. We definitely have a mixture here in the Cash App of Venmo and Cash App drops. But we had a PayPal drop from Brandon Shea. Actually, two of them.
Brandon.
2 Brandon Cooks. 2 $3 hollers from him. And it's just a Go Cowboys. I'm sure he'll be in the chat tonight and telling us what his thoughts are. So we, much love to Brandon James Shea, who's up on that board right there, I think in 5th place, and Jason Renfro in 6th place. He did drop a little love in the Cash App, so he is on the board, but he is not the leader, because then we had overnight, I think one of these nights, we had again, you guys don't know her from the Mosh stream, but the great Gloria with multiple drops. As my eyeballs are gone, Gloria dropped 3 10s on it, guys, and she said Go Cowboys. Appreciate her love, and she is 2nd place on that Cash App board for the week, Venmo Cash App board, because in 1st place, who dropped Cash App and Venmo, he's the leader right now, and it's, it is Snug X, guys. Appreciate the man Snug X. He dropped another 30 on it as well, so he's got the lead up overall up there. Gloria's in 2nd in the overall board, but these are 1 and 2 also in the Cash App Venmo side. So much love to them, as we're seeing maybe changing of the guards as a sponsor of the week, changing of the guards as the Cash App king. We shall see. Appreciate everybody here with the support and the love, because it has been extra tough, you can say, the last handful of months now, right? It's come down to it. So because of the YouTube situation, memberships and super chats, hopefully we get that back next month. In the meantime, you can help out the channel. We truly appreciate you guys that do help out the channel. It lets us go live longer, do more things for the channel and baby.
Yes.
Let's remember and remind them the 4 ways to support us
course,
here. Help out the channel.
Like Mr. MC have mentioned already, the Cash App, # My Cowboys Family, and the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family. But you also have the regular PayPal link there. But if you want your comments to appear right here on screen, that Streamlabs link is the way to do it. Also takes down Mark Hosepian, Stream Boss. He's still repping it with 73 points.
73 on that board, guys. Appreciate everybody. If you do drop anything in the Cash App or in Venmo, the PayPal link, make sure you guys at least alert us in the chat somehow. if we don't get the notification.
That way I
out
can get
fast
Mr. MCF on it.
Yeah, I can go check on it and read out the message or whatever. Again, super chat message on screen. We don't do anything. It just pops up right there. So multiple ways, even without the super chat. But again, the super chats and memberships, that's hopeful. Hopefully we'll have that back sooner or later so we continue doing our nightly shows, and a little longer sometimes. Sometimes we got to keep them a little shorter because we got to do a little more stuff in the next day, right, on our normal 9 to 5. So as we get rolling, baby, before we get into the news, info, and updates, who's in the house tonight checking out the channel?
Yes, let me see. We have Aztec Aguilar 04. Much love to you. Appreciate you. Scorpio representing Go Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
Leaside Harold, of course. He had to come talk real football, right?
Always in the house.
Q Ball.
He wants to rep that star.
So, by the way, happy birthday to you, Q Ball.
Hey.
Guys, everybody wish Q a very happy birthday
QJ,
there in the
Q
chat.
Ball, much love.
This is the year. This is the year.
We're hoping.
Oh, Darren Posey.
Yeah.
DMV Cowboys, much love. Glad you're able to finally make it out here. Dallas Cowboy 92 in the house representing. Let me see. House Nelson in the house. Let me see. We have Dwayne Broussard, the top dog himself.
DB the OG. There's DB Rams fan. There's DB the OG.
Yes, Mike Aldana, much love to you. Jason Renfro, the Cash App / Venmo King. The Cash App King,
the king right now, yeah.
Thomas Garrett, the Superior Garrett.
Always.
Let me come back down. I think that's everyone here so far. And at least for me, the chat's showing something kind of cool. Let me see if it shows up like on screen when I do that. There you go.
A little bit of the hearts?
Little hearts.
I don't know. That's the first time it's done that, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it must have been a new update. So I just thought that was cute.
I don't know where it goes, though.
I guess just up in the air.
I don't know. Maybe there's a heart counter somewhere. I don't know. Either way, hit the hearts. I don't know. Share it out. Share out these live streams, especially the last two. And watch our playlist, guys. It's got all the new stuff and the old stuff combined. You watch the playlist, you can see all the new grays coming in. Because it definitely wasn't this gray. And I was a little bit thinner, too, I think. When we first started this 5 years ago. Yeah, well, COVID, right? In between this shit. So we battled through COVID and got through it. So, guys, thank you all for dropping the knowledge in the chat, the love from above for the week. And we'll stop as needed when you guys stop us for something, yes. Right? Drops of love or whatever it may be. So we'll help the chat. Let's get rolling here with just some basic NFL kind of news. And I wanted to start off with just a general safety thing, which is new helmets. New helmets, and again, not new Dallas Cowboy helmets, new helmets for a certain position, quarterback. So quarterback-specific helmet is about to be available during this 2023 NFL football season. It's a new helmet, guys, designed specifically to offer greater protection for a quarterback's head, for concussions, obviously, when they hit the ground, like Tua, snapping against the ground.
Is it any different than like that kind of special helmet that you've seen a few of our players wear, like Micah or whatever?
But those aren't the quarterback-specific helmets. Those are like for impact helmets, right? So this helmet is also, I think, is also made by Viscus, which is the one that I think they're the ones that did the other one that you see Zeke with. His had it kind of compacts and breaks down a little bit easier for more. Ease of movement, so maybe he doesn't take the hit, the blunt hit on the skull / brain shaking around there. So again, this was designed especially for the quarterback position. That's what's interesting, is it's just for the quarterback, not for the linemen, not for receivers, running backs, or anybody else. This helmet, guys, again, this is now approved for the 2023 season, but the 2022 like kind of new helmets, the ones you're talking about, they saw about a decreased concussion rate of about 18%. 18%. So
good.
that's
Whoever
very
designed
good.
These new ones must have done it specifically for Tua.
Yeah, and again, then they adjusted those more to the quarterback, I guess position. To try to reduce these, maybe see some of these quarterbacks
impact zones, for example, like maybe the back of the head is a little more protected or something. Since when quarterbacks get hit, they're going to go like this. So.
Right, and they snap back against the ground. So, again, it's a good thing. It's science. We love science here. And, again, the helmet has undergone a lot of lab testing. It simulated concussion-causing impacts that usually are sustained by quarterbacks, like, in the lab, right? In the laboratory, they're doing this stuff. And, this was the league. NFL said this in a memo yesterday, I think. And they said basically the helmet-to-ground impact, it accounts for about half of the quarterback concussions and injuries that you see out there right now. And again, the quarterback helmet, according to their studies, is 7% better at reducing impact severity when you compare it to the most popular kind of helmets worn by quarterbacks last year that suited the quarterback position, right? So now these new helmets are there. They're scientifically proven to reduce, issues with concussions, but it doesn't look. First of all, it doesn't look any different than in your helmets you have nowadays. But inside there's an engineered column structure, which is for the bracing of the skull, I guess, the helmet, and it changes. They change the diameter of these spacing columns here. So anyway, it absorbs the impact better. It's just better all around. Like I said, it's at least 7% better for quarterbacks. At least that's what it's showing, that they can reduce it. And again, the biggest question left is, will the quarterbacks actually use these helmets? It's an option, but that doesn't mean they're going to wear it, guys. Only a handful of offensive linemen, I think linemen and defensive linemen, wore the specially designed helmets from last year that was approved for the linemen. Only a very few amount of players wore those specific ones for offensive linemen.
It's hard to get players to change, their routine, or the things that make them feel comfortable, or the things that they feel, kind of help them in the game type of thing. Because I remember there was a bit of back and forth, at least for us. Yeah, like he went to one helmet, then he kind of changed back. I know even Zeke with like the visor or something like that, he kind of like changed it as the years went on.
The thing with the quarterback is that it's because of the sight areas, the way the helmet's designed, with constructed. A lot of that with the sight vision was detrimental to the quarterback's kind of view, so they are hesitant to change a little bit, and that's understandable in some ways. The offensive lineman, defensive lineman, the trenches, those helmets were
maybe the QB helmet comes in widescreen.
I don't know, but they need to fix that for the quarterback so their vision is a little bit maybe better. They'll engineer it a little better. Right now, though, they're working those quarterback helmets are ready to go this year. They're working right now. The next ones are wide receiver and defensive backs. They're working for specially designed helmets for those positions. Remember, they're out against each other on the other side.
There's going to come a point where the NFL is just going to make it a rule. Like, you got to wear the helmet that corresponds with your position, so to speak. Yeah. So I wonder what that means for Micah. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, does he wear the linebacker helmet? Does he wear the defensive lineman helmet?
He's gonna have the edge rushing helmet. But again, some of these are right now, they're not forced, so they're options. And these options, are made available to the players. They're not forced to wear it, but it might nullify maybe if they complain of concussions later. They didn't use those helmets. Watch these rules be written in. You know how this thing works, guys.
Man, that sucks to know. Lost in Translation podcast said I had to quit playing football because of concussions. So he also threw in there Mahomes is already using that specially designed QB helmet. So, at least when it comes to range or adaptability or whatever, I think Mahomes is a pretty good advertisement.
But it's still about the change, the getting used to it side of things. That's a big problem. And by the way, these defensive back, defensive back, safeties and corners, and wide receiver helmets are going to be expected to be available next year. So you had offensive lineman trenches last year. You got quarterbacks this year, and next year the expectation is defensive backs, so corners and safeties, and receivers for next year. So that's the expectation on these new helmets. Just want to throw a little safety into them. You might not hear this on other channels or in the news, so I want to make sure we bring this to you guys. Stuff you can't hear, you don't know about, maybe it's out there. That's important to, everybody in the league and football players, but especially to our Cowboys. We see an injury go down, we see a helmet snap back, we know. Is the quarterback wearing, if Dak Prescott or Cooper Rush, are they wearing that helmet?
Yeah. That's actually a good question. I imagine we'll see some kind of technology on that side of things, but I'm not really sure. He said, will these helmets track severity of head trauma from the impact? Yeah, I mean, that's what they're trying to do. They see in studies 7% decrease. They're hoping, for quarterbacks specifically, they're hoping that will translate for this season. And after 2023, we'll see which quarterbacks used it and which ones didn't. And then they'll be able to track the differences between, who got more concussed and who didn't. So yeah, but it does kind of make you wonder how much technology is in the helmets as far as like actually tracking, maybe like where does the head fall when they hit the ground? Well,
that's what they did in the lab. They would go over and over again, whether it's some videos tested or whatever it is through crash test dummy type situation.
No, because some of the helmets, you got, someone made a joke in the chat, they got new Bluetooth speakers in the helmets or whatever. But the helmets some of the helmets do have audio connectivity.
Yeah, no, they're talking to the.
I'm just trying to say, if they have speakers in the fucking helmet, I have to imagine they probably have sensors or something else, at least measuring force of impact.
Right.
The NFL has way too much money to not have tiny little scientists inside the helmets, right? So, Eastside Herald, don't worry, they're designing your special dust cap helmet just for you, but that one's gonna have lots of soft padding all around the edges, it's like baby proofing, but a little more in real life. Exactly. So that way you can survive out in the world, in the streets of
They also put you in a padded room. Anyways, look, the point is, that's the new, generation of helmet situation going on. Now, going on to more stuff.
They're going to put jets in the cleats next.
Eventually they'll be flying across the field. Jerry Jones, old Jerry. Talk about owners real quick in the NFL. And Jerry Jones, today was an NFL, I think NFL Network came out with a ranking of the best GMs, general managers now. We're not talking about owners, but general managers. And Jerry Jones ranked 10th. 10th. Now, they're definitely blowing a lot of smoke up his butt because to me, that is as a general manager, he is not 10th.
We've had this discussion before. Like I said, the Cowboys have not completely outright fully sucked all that often in an overall sense. We have been painfully average, but we didn't outright suck. And the problem is that when you stay consistently average, you're still kind of sort of in the mix. So I understand. And also, how many other GMs have been there as long as Jerry? So, when you add up the good and the bad and all of it together.
Well, NFL Network said
I can take it.
NFL said that basically, it's a rarity that you could be consistently winning, which is one of Jerry Jones's main principles to his business is consistency, not winning, but consistency. So again, that's something we kind of wanted on offense a little bit the last couple of years with Kellen Moore and merging Dak's offense to that. Yeah, I'm just saying, but they mentioned Will McClay, Steve Jones. As part of this crew, this three-headed GMing team.
Hydra.
Well, I'm saying that you say they're really basing Jerry Jones. They're also kind of giving the credit to Steve Jones and to Will McClay for their role as the GMing.
Which, definitely makes sense. And like I said, they've all been together for a while.
But they do it this year, right? So this year, they actually give Jerry Jones as a GM a top 10 ranking. But the real reason, I think, and the way they kind of mentioned it, is because of the 5th-round pick for Brandon Cooks. Oh, I'm sorry, for Stephon Gilmore. The 5th and the 6th for Brandon Cooks. Those are the big GMing moves that Jerry Jones made that you can give him credit this offseason. That got him
into that top 10
Into the top 10, correct, for this year. So that's the reasoning why they went with that. And again, you can see that point. Now,
they were really solid moves.
I
we have not had much to bitch about this offseason so far when it comes to our front office.
But we talk about the front office, talk about GMs, owners, like Jerry Jones. How about the Washington Commanders? Today, some big news. Now, we complain about Jerry Jones all the time, but some big news, breaking news in a way, right? In the NFL, Dan Snyder has reached an agreement in principle. So it's not done, but it's basically almost done. And to sell the Washington Commanders to a group led by Philadelphia 76er co-owner Josh Harris. All right, Canadian, I think he's not the Canadian billionaire. So the purchase is, I think, $6.05 billion with a B dollars. All right? $6.6 billion, a little over $6 billion.
There's a pocket change, of course.
It was, Daniel Snyder bought the Washington Redskins at the time in 1999 for $750 million. That is right now what he's getting for it is a 700% increase that he paid.
The business grew a little bit.
Yeah. So the ownership group now, when this becomes official, will be, again, Josh Harris leading the way there, billionaire Mitchell Rales, and NBA legend Magic Johnson. He will be officially an owner of a minority owner in the group here, but it sounds like Josh Harris is the majority owner, but nonetheless still part of an owner here, and it'll be the Washington Commanders. Now, by the way, this sale is the highest price ever paid for any sports team in the world. It's the most expensive. You never paid no $6 billion for any sports team. So again, So this Josh Harris group, Magic Johnson and them, nearing a deal, but it's not 100% in the books yet. It's still got to be approved and this and that. Yeah. The bill has to be submitted and approved, but it is very close to being 100% done. And
also, look, we wouldn't be hearing about it now if it wasn't very close to being done.
It went to the finish line, basically.
Yeah, this isn't the type of deal that, one, gets done overnight, or two, is going to just somehow fall apart at the last minute. Might have to be edited, but it sounds like it's pretty short. Yeah,
exactly. So again, now Canadian billionaire is the other guy fighting for this, kind of for the made a bid as well for the Washington Commanders, and his name is Steve Apostolopoulos, and him and his family are still in the mix, in the running here to try to still not make a bid, but get the sale to them, right? One source telling ESPN that, quote, it's a head-to-head race. It's anyone's game.
This feels very Sopranos, where just because we just saw the episode where they're he's trying to get the beach house, and the other people had already put in an offer or whatever. So it sounds like we have two competing offers here.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, it does sound Greek. I'm assuming that Apostolos is
the Canadian guy, right? But this guy, Josh Harris, Magic Johnson, another billionaire in the mix. That these guys are going to be the new owners of the Washington Commanders. It sounds like so. That's an NFC East comparison. Where our owner is ranked top 10 this off, our GM owner is Jerry Jones. He's ranked top 10. Well, Daniel Snyder must be 32nd.
We know how well Dan Snyder has led the charge for the Commanders. So at least for me, I don't
too
want
bad
to
he's
say I'm
gone.
worried about it. I do think that new management could lead the team in a better direction, which does mean, obviously, good and bad things for us here in the NFC East. But,
Yeah.
I feel like Washington's going to Washington regardless of who's owning it. But obviously that remains to be seen. So
Agreed. And again, I hope that Washington stays on their track. Well, we don't really know, right? Because Washington, well, they might actually have improvements now with the new owner.
Mark Hovsepian.
The man, Mark Hovsepian, with the first live drop of the night, all the way from Hawaii. Mark H., the man, the Brandon Cooks $3 holler, with the first drop of the week for him. Trying to make it 9, should we say Romo 9, Turpentine 9 in a row.
Great Troy Aikman.
Yeah, right now he's at an 8-week streak, but he is on the board now officially. He jumps into 6th place on that board above me. I'm going to fix that in a minute. What did the man Mark Hovsepian have to say, baby?
He said, "What did I miss? Recap, please. I need me some Puna."
Unfortunately, no Puna in the house. That ain't happening.
Yes.
But we
Honestly,
have talked. It's been kind of quiet.
I was going to say, for at least the Dallas Cowboys specifically, it's been relatively quiet. Like you said, where we're just kind of shoring up our draft situation. The closer we get to the draft.
We got some info tonight. You want to stay for
the
this
last,
one.
I would say, I don't think you were here for when we mentioned it, but the quickest recap I can give is the Cowboys are basically leaning towards, obviously, offensive linemen in that first round, but there's also apparently like a dark horse tight end situation. If Mike Mayer, there we go. I almost said Mahomes for a second. I'm like, no, that's not it. If Michael Mayer somehow drops down to 26,
which is the expectation right now. So
who was it? Mel Kiper?
Oh, Mel Kiper.
There we go.
Shit,
Mel Kiper was the one that in the last few days kind of put out there that, hey, the Cowboys could very well draft not just Mayer, but a receiver in the second round. So we kind of just went through that discussion, but outside of that, and just we saw Dak and CeeDee Lamb working out. We saw some Micah stuff. So just kind of starting to see the gang get all back together.
Yeah, they're starting to heat up.
The Cowboys brought in, I think, 1 or 2 other guys for visits, but no one that we didn't already kind of think about.
And that's where it's going to leave off today. We're going to pick it up at the visits, and I want to make sure that's why the tonight stream is very important, because there is these are regarding the Cowboy interests and where the talent falls. And this is very important because now we can kind of put names to rounds and kind of know what the Cowboys are looking at least with these 30 guys they're bringing in, and Dallas draft guys, and guys that talked at the Combine. I'm going to have about 50 names for you tonight, but I'm going to place it in rounds. So we all know exactly kind of, okay, I see those names are not really attainable. That name we have to trade up for or make a reach the previous round. We're going to discuss it all tonight. I can't wait.
The final thing I'll add there is it seems like as of now, there's no kind of like trade down scenario being discussed within Dallas. You know what I mean?
Well,
just want to put it out there.
Well, there is a little bit of stuff saying that a lot of sources are kind of saying that there is maybe a trade down situation. No, this is not the Joneses, but this is like analysts and people saying it might be worthy for the Cowboys to trade down. I hope the Cowboys. I hope Joneses are listening. Jerry specifically.
$3 holler, much love.
He's cooking.
Mark building himself up. He's got 79 points there. But real quick, Mark Hovsepian said, "This is why I get annoyed. If we have a so-called up and comer on our roster now, why get a tight end? And same with receiver. And if Gallup was just injured when you had any confidence in Tolbert, wide receiver is not a need. And it's funny because Tolbert's, really putting in the work. We saw a picture of him, working out with Dak.
About that. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it today. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it.
The tight end situation specifically, and much love, Snug X, I'm going to shout that out in just a second. The tight end situation specifically, it's not just like, oh, we're going to get a tight end. It's the number 1 rated tight end in the draft. That's looking like he could fall to 26. So,
right. Well,
on that sense, I get it. But the Cowboys did leave that gap open. The receiver thing, I will say, makes a little bit more sense.
But the key to me is, where are these top picks that they're interested in? Where are they falling? Are they going to take a receiver? All these receivers we're looking at, are they going to take a receiver in the first round? Probably no. All these tight ends we're looking at, are they in the first round though? They're not really first-round tight ends, so keep that. That's what we're going to break down tonight right here at MCF. Yes. I'm excited about it.
And breaking it down as well.
With that
Snug
$5
$5 holler coming through. He said for MCW's approval. Approved.
74 points
Snug,
approved.
Appreciate you.
On the Mark Hovsepian stream boss. He's been owning that. He's going to be about 8 weeks at the end of this week. He's not let that go. I don't think that's ever been close to being broken. So Mark taking it there, but Snug chipping away at it. 74 points. And Snug is in first place still on the overall board and the Cash App. Mark Move is still right there, right with Randy Stites on the board. So much love to both you guys, Snug and Mark Hope Sapien, rocking it. Now,
yeah, I'll let you touch on that real quick while I blow my nose. But Lost in Translation said our depth at receiver is trash. So at least on that side of things, second round receiver doesn't sound so bad,
second
right?
or third or what? We'll talk about it. I promise. Yeah, now you blow your nose. Let me get to the. I got to get to the draft. We got to get to the NFL stuff first. Some Cowboy tidbits, and then we're gonna go right into this draft thing, breaking it down. The little G back there listening. So again, the Giants. The Giants. Again, we talked about Washington. F Philly. And we talked about our Cowboy front office, but what about the Giants? Well, they're having their own little issues here with their players. Saquon Barkley being that guy. Again, yesterday, he did not play. He's not signing his franchise tag before this upcoming offseason OTAs and all that good stuff that they do when this OTA program begins on Monday for the Giants. So he's not getting that franchise. He's not signing it. He like Zeke didn't sign that tag. No. Or I'm sorry, not Zeke, but Dak. Dak didn't sign the tag. You can use that as a kind of like, holding out a little bit that way. You're not getting fined. It's voluntary to do the OTAs. So Saquon Barkley did not sign his franchise tag tender. He is now ineligible to participate, which, for that installation time frame, it's important to have all your core guys. We know we got all our core guys here, but the Giants, they don't have Saquon Barkley for this portion of things. Now, among the tagged players in the NFL right now, Tony Pollard signed his tag. Josh Jacobs, Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley, and Evan Ingram have not signed that tag yet, guys. No contract, no tag signed contract, no signed tag contract, then no OTAs. You cannot, you are ineligible to go to the offseason, programs. But, this is like, it hurts the team, it hurts the player, but in the end, it's a kind of a negotiating tactic. The only thing they can do when it's a voluntary situation. Now, when they get to the mandatory OTAs, you get fined. You get to the training camp, you get fined by the NFL, not the team. So different. Now, another Giants standout player on the defensive side, Dexter Lawrence, their interior defensive tackle, is not reporting to the start of the Giants offseason training camp as well because he has an issue with his contract situation, negotiations. So he said, I'm not going there. He's also...
It smells like bitch in here. I'm not.
Saquon out, Dexter Lawrence out for their OTAs. They have to be there for training camp and all that stuff. Whether unless they're not signing the tag, we'll see what happens. He'll sign a tag in July. Trust me, Saquon. But the point is right now they're working the best they can. And again, just bringing it up because the Washington, whatever, they're selling their team, but they always got issues. Philly, and the Giants got issues.
I say that's two teams in our division right now that are in tumultuous situations. And on top of that, I have to give credit to Justin Quarles in our Discord real quick because there was that discussion about Hurts' contract, and he brought up the great point. He's like, please, let the Eagles pay him now because that would be the biggest mistake they could make. If the Eagles were smart, they would actually wait until the end of this year because most teams, after making a Super Bowl appearance, don't have great years, and they can leverage that possibly not so great year into his contract. If they pay him now coming off of that Super Bowl, they got to pay him I was just in the Super Bowl type of money.
But that's the other thing you got to remember. I agree with Justin on that. And
even though the market for QBs goes up.
That's the thing, though. If he went into the year and he continues to perform well, now you got to pay an extra $5 million a year. A year for this guy. Which, again, when you look at $40 million, $50 million, at that point, $5 million is nothing a year. So it's maybe worth the risk, as I think what Justin Quarles is saying. It's a good point, by the way.
Like, he's just trying to say that as Dallas wins no matter what because they either overpay for Hurts or they overpay for Hurts.
Or they have to pay
either way.
Or they have to pay a lot for him next year if he's that good. It's not good for us. He's that good, but we know they're gonna be chopped down from that quarterback contract, and we know all about that. So look,
got to strike while the iron's hot, at least on the Dallas side.
Speaking of the quarterback contract, how about Dak? The quarterback, Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott today, guys, on Dak Field. On Dak's football field.
Dak's home turf.
We've seen it. We talked about it since he's got his contract. He's got that big mansion. He's got a big 50-yard field in his backyard. And he does work usually he worked with Zeke, Tony Pollard, a lot of other guys in the offseason.
And the DAK
receivers.
Stadium.
I'm sorry?
The DAK Stadium.
The Dak Stadium. What's that DAK? I was like, okay, anyways, the DAK Stadium, the Dak Stadium, and the Dak Field. And so this year, who were the participants? We saw some pictures. We saw Ferguson, Hendershot. We saw some of the receivers. What's his name? The rookie from last year. Jalen Tolbert. And others. Dennis Houston. Others. This was a couple of weeks ago. So yesterday, new images are out there of Dak Prescott working out in Dak's yard, on Dak Field. with some very familiar faces. Jake Ferguson, Simi Fehoko, and a whole bunch of receivers like I mentioned already, Tolbert and others. But one guy that was there was a little surprising was Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke was working out with Dak and the Cowboys. Just let you know.
I know, but Dak wasn't bullshitting when he said they were brothers. They are very close.
They are very close friends.
And Zeke's very close with all the guys you just mentioned too. Like they're all been on the offense together.
Yeah.
So.
And when you think about that, again,
the Dak yard. I like that one, King Magnus. The Dak yard.
The Dak yard, Dak's field, whatever you want to call it. But on that field is where a lot of the coming together happens for Dak Prescott, timing wise, receiver wise, catching. Getting to know his guys. That stuff happens in Dak's backyard a lot. And we've actually talked a lot about it because I know somebody who lives in that area and they kind of can give a little, get a little inside information from that. So throughout this offseason, you'll be hearing me talking about the Dak yard and everything that goes on there.
Dak's backyard just like this, looking through the...
Hey, we got people, We got people that... Anyways, Jalen Tolbert, by the way, not only working out with Dak, but he's doing his own thing, guys, and with Dak Prescott, but in a different location. This wasn't on Dak field. In another field, you see Dak back there, and you see Dak in the background, but then you'll see Jalen Tolbert. He must have he put in some hard work, some put in the weights. Guys, he is bigger, he's stronger. Let's hope he can catch and maybe get, understand the different receiver spots, which is what he was lacking last year. Let's hope he's taken a little step forward, into this 2023 season to make sure he gets on the map. Because he had 2 catches last year. Come on. So Jalen Tolbert looking a lot better physically. And he's at every picture you see, he's always around Dak Prescott on that field, on SMU's interior, indoor field. And Dak, you see him there also going like, woo, and doing that. So again, it's great to see the camaraderie there too. So Jalen Tolbert, do not forget about him, carrying him along.
And yes.
But doesn't mean our problems are solved at receiver.
I would say yes, Lee's side. We know that every single player and every single team always is working out during the offseason or whatever.
Yes,
but
we go through our team.
Is every quarterback having to cook out at their house, inviting half the team into his backyard to go shoot the shit?
I don't know what Mahomes does. I don't know what Rodgers. Rodgers goes on retreats and gets high.
He's off getting high in Peru on ayahuasca or whatever.
So again, you got all these guys that do their thing. Dak Prescott in the offseason works out with his guys, and again he goes on a little trip here, trip there. He broke up with his girl. But the point is that now
a lot more working out this offseason.
A lot more working out with his teammates. Maybe a little more focus on football. Anyways, the point is that is a great sign. It's just continue to see. No cookies or medals given out for this, but it's good to see. Now, in this group, I don't think I saw any Tony Pollard in these pictures, but he has been on that Dak field, on that Dak yard many times. Can Tony Pollard now, with Zeke right there next to him? I don't know if he didn't invite him because Zeke was there, but either way, Pollard can carry the load. We're going to see it this year. I believe he can. In 2022, guys, last year, Pollard as a number 1 running back had 5 games where he averaged 6.9 yards a carry. That's almost 7 yards a carry or better than that, or better than 7 yards a carry. Pollard had double-digit rushing attempts in only 4 out of those 5 games. But the point is, he still hit almost 7 yards per carry, and he still got enough touches, enough carries, running back carries, to not make it a small sample size. So in 4 out of 5 games, the Giants week 3, 13 rushing attempts, had over 6.9 yards or more per attempt. The Rams had 8 rushing attempts. That's the one he had. Remember, he had that big run, broke the game open there, and that big, like a 40-yard run he had. Mm-hmm. And again, that's what Tony Pollard does. He had 8 carries. Still averaged over 6.9 yards per carry. Detroit Lions at home, week 7 for us. He had only 12 rushing attempts. Still put up almost 7 yards, 6.9 yards or more per carry. Same thing when we played the Bears in Dallas, week 8. 14 rushing attempts, which is a bigger sample size. Still averaging 7 yards or more a carry. And then the Colts, week 13, 12 rushing attempts, averaging 6.9 or more per carry. I mean, that's incredible. On 4 out of 5 games, when he's getting about 7 yards a carry in the game. He's getting over double-digit, carries. That's number 1. He's getting ready for that number 1 role this year. I think he'll be fine, and he's gonna imagine having a lot more games, a lot more carries in double digits. Imagine that, and then more touches in the air and the ground. This is gonna be a big year for Tony Pollard. Again, staying healthy as always staying healthy. Now, Pollard is one of the guys that got tattoos, right? So did Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. Today, a new guy officially joined the ranks with the same guy who does this ink, this tattoo work. Trayvon Diggs is now the 4th Dallas Cowboy player. He joins Tony Pollard. We just talked about him. Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb to getting either a massive leg back or back tattoo. Again, Trayvon Diggs got the back done. He got the whole no sleeves, right?
I will say, out of all the tattoos, even though I probably like the references on Dak's more, I think this one was the more well done one so far. If you get the chance to see it, I was gonna say I see the Joker. I see I don't know who's got the mask there, but that almost looks like Charlize Theron with a clown face or something.
Well, it looks like one of the Marvel characters. I'm not really sure. And then you have
that's what I'm saying.
Jesus in there, you know. So you have
I just think it's really well done.
Yeah. Looks nice. It looks really good.
Very well done piece.
But it's a whole, back tattoo. So now you got Pollard, Dak, CeeDee Lamb, and Trayvon Diggs, and they all got it from the same group there. Under
same
Inc.
tattoo artist.
Yeah, the same. Well, it's a group of people. It's like 4 people and 5 people that they fly them out there. I'm sorry, what did you say?
Like tattoo shop.
Tattoo shop. Yeah, but they fly out to get the work done, and they do it all in like
traveling.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 people. They do it and at the same time to save time for these athletes that have to get off the chair quick, right, and back in action as fast. Working out in the off season. But just to switch gears, I'm done talking about new tattoos. Let's talk about the new player. That's going to be on the other side of Trayvon Diggs and Stephon Gilmore. Guys, statistically speaking, Stephon Gilmore, when you look at the PFF rankings, we talked yesterday about his ability to still be a relevant top 6 cornerback in the NFL analytically. When you look at the top graded cornerbacks, the top 10 graded cornerbacks of 2022, that's this past year, according to the analytics of PFF, Stephon Gilmore with the Colts last year still ranked 9th best analytically. That's just last year. So we talked about him being top 6 in the last 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. But last year was a top 9. Even if he's top 10 this year, top 11 or 12, guys, he's the number 2 to Trayvon Diggs. I'm ready for this. I know you guys. And again, think about this. You got those 2 guys manning the corners. You got DeRon Bland and Jordan Lewis right now. Any kind of slot work, you got 2 guys that can handle that. So I am really looking forward to this defensive backfield. Go back to the safeties. We talked about Curse and Donovan Wilson multiple times. But don't forget about Malik Hooker. I keep bringing him back up. Free safety. I mean, he was a definite top 10 analytical pure free safety last year in the NFL. No question, no diggity, no doubt. Mm-hmm. And look at this. When he plays, when he plays 13 games, when he plays 13 or more games in a season, which was 2018, 2019, 2021, and this past year in 2022, the last 2 years of the Cowboys, he had 13 or more games he was able to play. He's had each year 33.5 solo tackle average. Each year, an average of 16.5 assisted tackles, an average of 2 interceptions per year, and 3 passes defended. When you look at the averages there, guys, again, 2021, 2022, first time that Hooker played consecutive seasons of 15 or more games in a row. So again, I think those might have been total numbers. My point is when he, in those games, guys, last 2 years, he was managed properly in 2021, so no injuries. And last year he had more of a starting role. But we have 3 safeties that can all do free safety stuff. We have 3 safeties that can do corner, linebacker kind of work, but they also can defensive line pressure. But they can also play free safety, while Malik Hooker is our main free safety. So manage the snaps properly. You keep someone like Malik Hooker, who's maybe injury prone, you keep him alive in the season a little longer. So great to see Dan Quinn utilizing Malik Hooker the proper way, not overworking him. But he's still a very important factor for the Cowboy defense and this team. So that's at the back end. What about in the front? Sam Williams, guys. When you look at Sam Williams, and we're going to get to the draft here in a minute, but when you look at Sam Williams, who was drafted last year in the 2nd round, some people think it's a reach. I don't think it is. I do think Marco Seppian, though, he's dropping that knowledge right now with that love from above, that $3 holler.
Woo.
What did the man, Mark H., currently moving up this board? I'm going to move him up a little more. What did he say about our talk right now?
Mark, he said, it's great that we've got such a solid cornerback. Like I said, though, it's a matter of just improving on what we had, and he qualifies. Okay. Now it's the defensive tackle spot. Osa's solid. Let me see. Yeah, Osa's solid. Hankins is great, but everyone else sucks.
As far as the interior, right? Yeah. Well, that's something that I think the Cowboys are going to build on this draft. So I mean, we can't. We're not.
Well, we're not going to build on this draft again.
I gotta
manage expectations there because I don't see it being anything sooner than like a 3rd round pick at the earliest.
And what I'm trying to also say is, we're not going to get anyone else probably in free agency that you're going to like, Mark. And that's just the reality. I mean, we're not going to get Poona Ford. You're not getting,
no Puna.
No Puna in the house, unfortunately. So, that's not going to happen. But the draft is where it has to happen. And we got to get the right guy for Dan Quinn's defense. And he's got to be the right guy that does the right stuff. It's not really how high you draft the guy. It's more of, can he do the stuff you need him to do at a higher level than Bohanna? Give me that. Just give me that. I think we could all agree we just take that in the draft. Take Bohanna out and replace him with someone better right now.
I'd love to draft a future Hankins replacement because in my mind that seems a little bit more realistic. But for Hankins, you got to go. We could do.
Hankins started off. He was he could do both things. So again, you got to remember he was more like that. You want to get a guy who's kind of just he's got to be able to stop the run. That's what we need. And I don't care about 3rd down and 12. We got DeMarcus Lawrence and we got Osa. They can do that stuff.
One of the few cases where I think I would actually advocate against the Cowboys' usual strategy of going for a more versatile player, go for the guy who does that the best. Like, who is the best nose tackle within the range of guys that the Cowboys would actually consider? Go get that guy. Not the guy who's not as good, but he can do this. No.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. But let's stay for a second here. I know Mark brought up the defensive tackle spot. We'll get to that in the draft talk after this. This is the last thing I'm talking about before we get to the draft. By the way,
we got to take it outside a little bit.
77 points for Mark up there, representing Tyron Smith, our starting right tackle right now. Sam Williams I want to talk about his run stop ability because that's one thing I've talked about him as being a pass rusher specialist, but I think he will be the replacement, if not this year, next year, for Dorrance Armstrong, for the run-stopping opposite side of DeMarcus Lawrence. When it's run-stopping time, he could be that edge setter that we need. But this last year, he didn't have many opportunities, and we need to see more opportunities from Quinn or from him by Quinn to allow him to do that. And we'll see if that happens. We got Fowler, we got Armstrong, we got, of course, Micah and DeMarcus Lawrence in the mix. So we'll see how that's worked.
We have Marco Seppi
with that cooking
dropping another.
He's cooking.
$3
And by the way, he is 4th on the board right now, creeping up closer, skeptical. Still not there, but almost there to try to jump him to 3rd with that 3 on it. What did he have to say?
What really sucks is where the draft is strong is where we are strong. We don't need a running back. Tight end's looking promising, and where we're weak, as far as the D-line and the O-line, there's not a lot of studs. We might have to reach to get a better defensive tackle. That's where Mr. MCF and I kind of feel like the Cowboys' general draft strategy is just making the best at where you have it. But that does mean that, let's say we wanted an offensive lineman in like the 1st or 2nd round, brings it down to like more like the 2nd or 3rd. And let's say we wanted a defensive tackle in like the 2nd or 3rd round. Now we're talking 3rd or 4th round because you're right. The guys there are not worth it this year. So I do have to shout out.
I keep saying though, trade down, and then you get your value. You might add a 3rd and get value.
I know, but you might end up like just trading down and just walking right off the parking lot because there's nothing left.
I'm going to show you why it's not the case. I'm going to show you why in a minute.
But yes, Brandon James shout out. Yes, Brandon James Shea
in the house,
dropping a $3 holler. Much love there through the Streamlabs, and he said
he's staying alive and he's 5th place on this board. What did he have to say?
He touched on the top 5 GM rankings, right? Apparently, Howie Roseman was ranked number 1. Boo.
I know, but you got
peel the banana, guys. Peel the banana.
I know some people out there. Listen, there's some cool people out there. I love them, but they're saying how you guys that talk down about Jerry and you guys talk up. Cowboy fans talk up Howie Roseman. I'm not doing that. I'm just being real. As a GM, Howie Roseman overall is just goes out and is aggressive, is better in that way.
He is more effectively managed his Eagles situation.
Even though this offseason, Jerry Jones and their group did a better job. We got to give him credit when credit is due, but don't mean he's better than Howie Roseman. Let's just be realistic about it. As a GM for the last 27 years, this guy, Jerry Jones, has screwed us from one way or the other, whether it's because he was too aggressive or not aggressive. Did dumb deals and didn't do enough deals. But he just couldn't find himself. And how many breaks are you going to give him? I love the Cowboys, number 1 team in any sport in my life. But the reality is reality. And Jerry Jones, in the end, has hurt this team a lot of times. This year, a much better year. Is he a top 10 this year? I mean, they said yes. Roseman, number 1. I can't argue with that.
But yeah, and then, of course, the Chiefs next with Brett Veach, Duke Tobin from the Bengals, Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott in the Bills. Those are the top 4, which again, considering that those are some of the more dominant teams, not surprising, right?
Yeah, no,
Brandon?
I mean, listen.
Much love. And by the way, Scorpio, real quick, saying, we have a tight end named Ian Bunting who's 6'7". I can't find much info about him.
Yeah, we talked about him last year. He was brought in as a practice squad player.
The most notable thing about him, you just said it there. He's 6'7". That's it. Begins and ends
practice
there.
Squad. He practiced squad, or he played a couple games. I think he was elevated for a game or 2 last year. Nothing special about about him. He ain't gonna listen. We got McEwen in front of him. We got Bunting basically in the practice squad. We got McEwen, we got Hendershot, we got Ferguson. Those are our 4 tight ends.
And if all else fails, we'll find a spot where he can stand and just go like this.
He'll go back to that practice squad. He'll be cut and put back in the practice squad probably. So let me just finish with Sam Williams, guys. Like, much love to Brandon James Shea, and the man Mark Hovsepian. But let me finish it up because Sam Williams, when it comes to run stopping, he had only 105 run defensive snaps last year. But out of those 105, he had 14 solo tackles in the ground game. 4 assisted tackles, 15 stops. By the way, a defensive stop, tackles that constitute, quote-unquote, a failure for the offense to gain positive yardage. If it's first down, you should get at least 3 yards. He made a tackle that didn't go 3 yards. That's a stop, and that's what I'm trying. He's very important in those. If it's second, I don't know what the numbers are, but if it's 3rd and 1 and they don't get the yard, that's a stop. I'm just saying that's the way it kind of works on that. So that's the way that number works. 15 stops for him.
So if it's a 1st and 10 and they run and they don't get a 2nd and 7, it's considered a stop.
The defensive player that made that tackle is a stop.
2nd and 8, 2nd and 9,
right?
2nd and 10,
and then that play on a 2nd and whatever, and if somebody makes a tackle on a run that only gets them 2 yards on that kind of scenario, then that would be another defensive stop, is what I'm trying to say. So,
okay. So just trying to understand how that breaks down.
So that's the analytical numbers there, but it just shows you the kind of the context inside of the numbers inside the numbers. He only had 1 missed tackle in the run game. It's important. As long as he does that and that edge setting stuff right, he'll miss a tackle here and there once in a while, but he'll become a solid also run stopper, a 3-down type of guy in the future. That's why I look at him. Now, every 3 run defensive snaps that he had, Sam Williams was either getting a stop, a solo tackle, assisting with a tackle. One of those 3 things in the run game. 1 out of every 3 snaps, he was involved in stopping the run. And we want to stop the run. Sam Williams is going to be used more this year. Mark my words, in my opinion. And when you talk about pass, this is why I say because you see his pass rushing ability, Sam Williams. That's why we drafted him. That's the main reason. 166 pass rushing snaps. He had 4 quarterback sacks. 4 in that very small number. He had 11 quarterback hurries and 7 quarterback hits. He also had 22 quarterback pressures. All of this in 166 pass rushing snaps. Every 3.5 pass rushing snaps that Sam Williams has had, he either had a quarterback sack, a quarterback hurry, a quarterback hit, or a quarterback pressure. Once every 3.5 snaps.
That's a very
pass rushing snaps.
Resume for someone who had such a limited amount of play time.
Just saying, a small sample size, but my goodness, if he can just extrapolate that doubled, this guy's is going to be he's going to be taking over the starting spot for Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler, whoever the hell is over there. Just saying. So I love the Sam Williams trajectory. Now, rookie last year, now he's 2nd-year guy. We're talking about the rookies this year that we're about to draft and get in here. So for this draft coming up, they always have like the top kind of drafted prospects at the actual draft. You can see their face. They say, they hug and kiss their family.
Show them off a bit, of course.
Yeah. 17 prospects are confirmed to attend this NFL draft in Kansas City in 2 weeks from literally tonight. Or I guess when you're watching this, it'll be last night.
That's a small number.
It's very small, guys. The number used to be around 25 to 28 players on average every single year attending this draft until recently. They haven't had more than 21 players attend since COVID. That's obviously some of it. But some of that is it because of, COVID, or is it because, we know it's not COVID anymore, so is it because people aren't showing up as much because they don't want to suffer in the green room, squirming in there? It's kind of, it's stressful. They'd rather be at home, or away from that. Maybe it's a too stressful situation if you don't get picked where you're supposed to be or you want to be.
I feel like it's maybe most people do want to celebrate that moment with their friends and family, and you can only bring a limited amount of people with you if you go. Mm-hmm. So it's usually kind of a mom, dad only type of thing or something, maybe a girlfriend. So at home you can celebrate, all your friends, your family, aunts, uncles, everybody's there.
But I also think that maybe players don't want to do it anymore.
I was going to say, too, COVID changed things, not so much because, people aren't doing it because of COVID, but our expectations changed because of COVID, right? I mean, work from home is another great example, right? It wasn't as popular even 4 years ago. But nowadays, depending on the job you do, you won't even look at a job if it doesn't say work from home or whatever, depending on your position. So just saying, I think players are just more comfortable with the direction that has gone.
Well,
so
we'll see what happens. Again, this is all for the draft and these players showing up. I don't think any of them.
Nothing's going to be as good as CeeDee Lamb telling his girl to shut
That was great. I mean, and it's funny, he didn't show up.
At least in recent years.
But that was COVID, wasn't it?
Yes, that was. That's why I'm laughing about it. I'm just saying, like, that to me was great.
Let me say the names that are the guys that are showing up. Jordan Addison, receiver.
Okay.
Will Anderson Jr., which we talked about here, from Alabama, linebacker. Brian Branch, defensive back, Alabama. Jalen Carter, defensive back, Georgia. Zay Flowers, guy that Cowboys like. Wide receiver, Boston College. Christian Gonzalez, cornerback from Oregon. Paris Johnson Jr., tackle from Ohio State. Will Levis, quarterback from Kentucky. We have a cornerback I like a lot, Joey Porter Jr. from Penn State. He's here. He's going to be at the draft. Anthony Richardson, quarterback from Florida. You got Bijan Robinson, running back from Texas, will be there. Jackson Smith Njibba, he will be there. Receiver from Ohio State, the number one prospect at receiver. C.J. Stroud, quarterback for Ohio State. Keon White, defensive edge rusher from Georgia Tech. Tyree Wilson, Texas Tech defensive end. Devin Witherspoon is cornerback from Illinois, and Bryce Young, quarterback from Alabama. Just wanted to make sure we got all those names down.
And again, every single one of those guys sounds like a very safe bet. If you get what I'm trying to say.
Not every single one. There's a couple that I'm surprised are there.
I would say 15 out of those 17 guys is probably going to go home.
Zay Flowers will probably
somebody.
I don't know if he'll be first round for Zay. So we'll see what happens. But let's talk about our Cowboys. Who do we look at today? Because again, these 30 visits, these Dallas draft day guys, these combine pro day guys, it's all coming to an end now. We got 2 weeks to go, less than 2 weeks. So the Cowboys, again, this came out. The Cowboys had a Zoom call with a quarterback today, guys. Purdue quarterback Aiden O'Connell. Not a surprise. I literally talked about this guy 3 weeks ago. The Cowboys were looking at him. And again, right now, the Cowboys, they did hold not just a Zoom call, but a private workout with him. So we knew that already. They brought him back for a zoom in. The Cowboys are very interested in this Purdue quarterback, Aiden O'Connell. And I do think if the Cowboys want to, I'm hearing fifth rounder for him, that would be a perfect spot for the Cowboys to go and grab a quarterback if they really, really wanted to. Another quarterback that the Cowboys are liking right now and they have interest. Not a top 30 visit. He's from Houston, Clayton Tune. He was part of the Dallas day, not a 30 visit guy.
Okay.
So again, that's why you might have heard some conflicting reports, but interest is there is the point. But not as a 30 visit guy because it's a Dallas day. We got a lot of free visits from that, so that's really good. Tight ends that are in the mix now. 2 tight ends guys that are officially showed up at the Cowboys facility. Visitors to the Star in the last couple of days. Georgia's Darnell Washington, the tight end. I'll talk about him in a minute. And also another tight end, South Dakota State's Tucker Kraft. Kind of a little more unknown about him probably later in the draft if the Cowboys look for him. But really, that's the only ones that we actually know of tight ends that actually were at the Star. And the whole list of guys that they have interested in. At tight end, these guys are more like second, third, fourth round kind of guys. And not first round tight ends. Keep that in mind. Mayer hasn't been around sniffing a Cowboy spot at all. He's not a guy that Cowboys are interested in. So Mayer may be the best tight end. We're not going to draft them. I'm telling you, I don't believe we'll draft them. Now, let me go back to Darnell Washington from Georgia because I believe this guy, again, he's called the 6th offensive lineman. Again, guys, he's like 280 pounds, 270 pounds tight end that can block like a lineman and has the athletic ability enough to, maybe he's not the fastest, he's not going to be the smoothest, but he can catch the ball. So you have a weapon here that you may use in a run-pass situation, which, play action would work great maybe for someone like Darnell Washington. So a guy you keep an eye on in the 2nd or 3rd round from Georgia, tight end. If the Cowboys are serious about tight end, there you go. It's a possibility for him there. Now, I just want to say Darnell Washington, he's 6'6". He weighed in at his latest pro day at 6'6", 264. That's a huge man right there. But again, if you're looking at like a pass rusher, you're like, okay, that's a big guy. Or offensive lineman, he's a tight end. So keep that in mind. He has 11-inch hands. The second largest hands from a tight end ever recorded at the Combine. So 11-inch hands, guys. He also in the 40-yarder.
That's like basically both my hands. Like it's literally like both
Mine
my hands
put
together
hands.
because my hands are
Yours are tiny.
I have small hands.
Yes. He has 11-inch hands. I mean, my hands are probably about 12.
Here, let's.
I don't know.
Look at that. My hand is like half the size.
Yours
of
is tiny,
hand,
so it's kind of weird there. But because it's not really we need to get another big hand. Like Shaq will probably eat my hand.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming Darnell Washington is close to that. Second largest hands from a tight end in the history of the Combine. 40-yard dash, 4.64. Again, He's 6'6", 264, and he ran the 40 in a 4.64. The broad jump for a guy this big.
It's like the size of my iPad.
Put it up here. Huh?
Like,
you can
like
put it up there. Let me see.
Look good. Go ahead.
I mean, you can see.
Damn, that's what I'm saying. Like that's
his covers the whole thing.
Big.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So
I'm trying to conceptualize.
But he's such a big guy that again, 40-yard dash, 4.64, very fast for a guy's size. Broad jump, 10 feet 2 inches. A 10-yard split, 1.57. Just so you guys know, wingspan, 83 3/4 inches. His wingspan.
We found this draft's albatross.
Talk about his hand. Second biggest, but the wingspan is the biggest ever recorded by a tight end at the combine.
Yeah. Albatross. Got it.
So yeah, he's like the Kyle. He's like the slower, less athletic Kyle Pitts. I would say
the thumb to the tip of the pinky.
Across.
That's still not.
That's how they measure it. Well,
it's like no, I'm trying to measure mine. Like it's like 5 a little over 5 inches, maybe like 5 maybe. I don't know.
I'm probably
I'm using my phone as a measurement, so I'm just kind of like
10 inches.
It's about one phone's worth of a little. Actually, the phone's a little shorter. So.
Anyways, like as we continue with this, again, an unbelievable, tight end in his hand. Ability, hand size, and wingspan. That means he can catch the ball anywhere around him. He might be he's pretty fast for a guy his size. He can block.
Big range.
I like this pick for the Cowboys. I would love to get a guy like him. Now, we talked about Dalton Kincaid. And as an option for the Cowboys if Mayer is gone or, earlier, like they say in the second round. But today, unfortunately for him, guys, Dr. Robert Watkins, recently sent a letter to NFL teams fully clearing. Now, again, you got to remember, he had an issue I don't know if everybody knew about, but he's been cleared. Utah's tight end, Dalton Kincaid, who, again, a lot of people are saying expected to be a first-round pick somewhere, cleared from the back injury sustained last season in college, which is concerning to me. Any kind of back injury, when is it gonna start to be an issue?
Those are kind of like hamstrings. They tend to kind of linger.
And the doctor basically said that he sustained the back injury on November 26th last year. MRIs shown appropriate healing.
Okay.
There's been asymptomatic pain, by the way, with no pain and no limitation of function for at least 3 months. So he has been cleared by the doctors, cleared to play football with no restrictions, according to these doctors. So again, he visited the Bengals. He's on the way to New England, in Green Bay, and out of all these guys I just talked about, tight ends, Kincaid also is going to visit the Cowboys. I'm not going to go through all the teams: the Texans, the Raiders, Chargers, Jaguars, Titans, Lions, Chiefs, and the Dallas Cowboys. So Kincaid, he's been cleared. He's a guy that may be a guy on the target if he goes into the second round.
I know, but establish the past does bring up a good point. I asked this on Twitter: cleared or not, name a player that has significant back issue and never had an issue
in the NFL. Exactly. And I agree with you. That's why I'm concerned about Kincaid. I would not. I used to say Kincaid maybe in the second round. I'm too worried to even take a chance with him. He's like Gavin Escobar could be, and not injury wise, but production wise.
Would you take him if we got him a little deeper in the draft? If
I'm saying,
got him for like a third,
maybe. But I think I like some guys out there in the third round, maybe at different positions that I would like over him at the third round. At that point, even the third round, then rolling.
Why don't you look at him almost like I hate to say or use this comparison, but almost like a running back. Not here for a good time, or not here for a long time, just a good time.
Problem is
we try to just get as much out of him as we can while we can.
The problem
kind of knowing that we're probably not going to keep him long term.
I don't like it because like LVE, this injury could happen in the second year, third year. Now you're stuck with him. He's a first round pick. You got a fifth year option is useless if you use that first round pick on him.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to kind of talk it out.
Yeah. So another guy, as we move on, another guy the Cowboys are liking. We're going to the newest guys the Cowboys have announced in the last day and a half that they have brought in or enjoy and like and want as a 30 visit or a Dallas.
The final thing
guy.
I'll say here, just because Cactus G did bring up a good rebuttal there, he said Tank had back trouble early in his career, and now you don't really hear about that anymore.
Well, it's creeped up. He's missed practices because of that. He's been arrested because of that. He maybe hasn't played as well because of that. I know in 1 year he had back issues the whole year.
That was the year that
was when Dak broke his leg. That's when Dak broke his leg.
Tyrone Crawford. I think that was the year that Crawford was also super banged up and hurt. I just remember there was one year in particular where Crawford was missing and Tank
2018
was hurt all
in LVE's rookie year, 2018. That's when Dak broke his leg, and DeMarcus Lawrence was injured the whole year with his back. So he played very poorly.
Did he have surgery and everything too?
I don't know the all season, but in the season he was just always injured. So those backs come back and haunt you. Now, another name for the Cowboys on offense, 30-day visitor. And I'm staying on offense for a second because I think a lot of it's going to be offense in the draft. But
yeah, and I'm listening. I'm just going to get a little G.
Okay, all right. Now, I was going to do something too. So you have to.
I'm right here. Don't worry. I'm right here. I'm right here.
So another name for the Cowboys top. We couldn't do this before, and sometimes you got to do things behind the scenes. But top 30 visitor here for the Cowboys. The Cowboys are bringing him in, and they brought him in, by the way. It's funny. I talked about this guy literally 2-3 days ago. Darnell Wright, Tennessee offensive tackle. Again, going off, at 26. Some people were saying there's no way he'd ever get to 26. Now they're saying it might be a chance. This offensive tackle, I told you guys, plays much better at left guard, and he's much better at right tackle. This guy right now is in the Cowboys realm all of a sudden as a possibility. He has been sliding down some charts a little bit, again, because of some of the critiques at his left tackle spot. We're not looking at left tackle for him. We're looking at, left guard / right tackle possibly for him. So will the Cowboys take a guy like him right now? Guys, again, we took Tyler Smith last year, Travis Frederick in late round one in 2013. Of course, Tyler Smith last year, late round one in 2022. So we'll see what happens. But to me, guys, I'd prefer not to use this versatility situation. Yes, we said it last year about Tyler Smith. I don't know if it's going to strike, if lightning's going to strike twice for us, so to speak. You know what I mean? So
it's hard to get that lucky.
I agree, and I think that Darnell Wright as a guard option could be a longer project than we think. That's all I'm trying to say. He's a right tackle, and they're going to force him to play left guard. Even though he's better there than left tackle, still, and again, we know that guard, it mitigates his issues. We talked about this, but he's a guy who will be a great right tackle in the NFL. But the Cowboys are bringing him in, and one of the 30 guys, one of the 30 visit guys. So we'll see if that guy's on their radar or not. So, but to me, the guy who's on my radar more so is Steve Avila, who again I bring up every day. TCU, and again, he's the reach at offensive line at 26, I think, unless we trade back. He's 6'4", 332. His hands are 9 1/4 inches, arm length 33 inches, and the wingspan is 79 inches. Stats last year at TCU, he allowed 0 sacks. He allowed only 10 pressures, and he only had 2 penalties called on him. We like to hear those numbers. And he could play, we know he could play center. He could play 4 out of the 5 spots last year, so he can do it all. But we're looking at that left guard, and that's his best position. So overall, at that left guard spot, he's like an 86 analytically, 90 in pass blocking, and 82 in run blocking. So he's a little better at pass blocking at that left guard spot.
Which, considering that we brought a lot of really solid run blockers onto our offense, that's a nice change of pace there, right?
Speed, he's not the fastest, but 78 in the ratings. Strength, 82, decent strength. Acceleration, 77, and agility, only a 67. But his athletic score, relative athletic score is an 8.50 out of 10, which is all right. It's pretty good. I mean, for an offensive lineman, it's in the top 15%.
Get him a year or two here in Dallas where we can improve his strength, improve some of that speed and agility stuff, and, of course, improve, kind of those fundamentals that always seem to get better when you transition from college to the NFL.
Oh, I know who established the passes, by the way.
I still think Avila is the best move if we're not trading down at 26.
And I'm with you. I do like, there's a couple other guys I would like. The one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to trade up. That's insanity. I would trade down and get more value for the pick, add another draft pick. We know the Cowboys don't really do that. Now, by the way, establish the run, baby. You know who that is?
Who?
That's formerly known as DCU. Charlie, yeah.
That's right.
House. Much love to him. Sub it up to establish the pass.
Much love, by the way. Shout out to establish the pass.
He loves the throw. He doesn't want to establish the run. He wants to establish the pass. So he's always dropping the very, very great information in there, always dropping the knowledge. And again, everybody follow him, subscribe to him on YouTube, and whatever channel you got there, make sure you drop that, Charlie. So on the defensive side of things, a couple names that kind of fell through that are definite top 30 or Dallas Day guys it was released the last day or two is Mazi Smith. Now, he's the defensive tackle. He, to me, is the defensive tackle that I would kind of like the most for the Cowboys in the first, I would say first or second round. I'm a realist. The Cowboys won't take him in the first, but he's a second round. If he drops to the second round, I would grab him or Keanu Benton from Wisconsin as that. To me, Mazi Smith is more of a 3-down kind of guy than a Keanu Benton is. So again, I think that if he drops that low, I say take a shot at Mazi. But he is a guy the Cowboys are interested in, guys. He came in to visit the Cowboys today, or yesterday, I guess you could say. I think he visited the Bills today, the Chiefs, the Steelers, but he visited the Bears, the Eagles, the Cardinals, Saints, and the Dallas Cowboys. So Mozzie Smith,
busy guy.
He's a guy that the Cowboys definitely like as a possibility. Another defensive tackle, we talked about him, Jacqueline Roy. All right, he's, according to most people, he's a force interior. Keep an eye on him, and maybe a little bit later, LSU defensive interior lineman. He finished tied for third in the SEC in pressures, quarterback pressures, when aligned as a defensive tackle, meaning the 0 tech, 1 tech, 2 tech, 3 tech, all up to 4 tech. Now, we don't need him for that. I want a run stopper. That's why I say Roy is somebody that maybe is more of a 3-down guy, but maybe he doesn't have the ability that maybe Mozzie Smith has, run stopping and maybe being a more violent kind of attacker. So we'll see where the Cowboys want to go with an earlier pick like Mozzie Smith, or a little bit later in Jacqueline Roy. But again, he visited with the Cowboys, Roy, as well. So Mozzie Smith, Roy, the Cowboys are looking a little bit, dabbling in there at defensive tackle and really run stoppers, 1 tech, 0 techs. They're looking at that spot, but where? A little earlier than I would usually expect the Cowboys to be looking at this. And we could replace Neville Gallimore. We could replace the freaking Neville Gallimores and Bohanas. Get them the hell off the team if you have to, with some draft picks in there. If the Cowboys are smart, that's what I would do. And in the back end, there is one guy who was added to the list, Darius Rush, a cornerback from South Carolina, a guy who I've been high on from the moment I've seen him, guys. Darius Rush, he's very much like Trayvon Diggs. He's a converted wide receiver to cornerback. And again, when you watch him in the Senior Bowl, the man was running routes with the receivers. Like, what I mean, he was almost knowing what they were doing because he was a receiver. He knows the cuts, he knows the moves, the setups. And I'm telling you guys, to me, he was phenomenal at the Senior Bowl. Now, Darius Rush, we'll see where he drops to. He might be a 3rd rounder, 2nd rounder. I don't know. He's been Eli Ricks has been around there in the 4th round. There's a lot of different places these guys fall and trickle down to, but a lot of good cornerbacks, I would say a little bit deeper in this draft. And Darius Rush, the Cowboys definitely have him on the list of guys they like. So, again, a lot of interest. Are you okay?
I was just going to take a little commercial break here
real
quick.
Yeah.
Remind everybody, while you're here chilling, hanging with us, huge shout out to everybody here. Appreciate you. Take a second to hit like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Best, simplest, most easy, straightforward way to make sure you don't miss a live stream. And, of course, follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily. Hop into our Discord, links down below. Thank you to the sponsor of the months. You heard that right. 8 weeks in a row for the man, Mark Hovsepian.
Much love.
Who, by the way, pumped himself back up to 77 points.
He's 4th on the overall board. Will he go for that 9 and beyond? We'll see. But he's right now sitting at 4th place behind Gloria and Skeptical Fan. And, of course, the leader, Snug X. Jason Renfro is the king of the Cash App back-to-back. And the leader there is also Snug X. So Snug X coming for a takeover. We know why. Right. We know why.
Moving on up. So
and remember, of course, because of the YouTube situation currently, with no memberships and super chats.
Yeah, there's only a few ways you guys can show the love and support.
There's a DAC 4 way of doing it. And baby?
Yes, of course, the Cash App, Money Side My Cowboys Family, Venmo at my-Cowboys-Family. The regular PayPal link, and of course you guys have seen it throughout the night here, those Streamlabs messages showing up right here on your screen and taking down Mark Hovsepian's Stream Boss. So.
Or pump it back up. Mark's been pumping him back up. He was at 60-something, 64, 60, 72. Now he's at 77.
Yeah, that's why I said he's repping that 77 now.
Appreciate everybody in the house.
Shout out Jason Renfro. Much love to you. Let me finish putting a little G to bed. And by the way, guys, I'm not a horrible parent. He doesn't have school tomorrow.
Yeah, he's not going to
Just throwing that out
school
there,
tomorrow. That's why he's up a little later. But he's exhausted because, he was out early for school today.
He's like, oh, please let me stay up late.
Yeah,
and you saw the results of that. He passed out 30 minutes into his stay up late.
Well, now we're going to, when you get back, we're going to be in overdrive, baby. Okay. On the drive. And can you put the AC down for a degree, please? Yeah, because it's kind of hot with these lights we got on here. But guys, the Cowboys draft board, basically the big board. We're going to talk about a couple little things here. When you look at the Cowboys' top prospects, you can say there's like 50 to 75 guys we're going to talk about, and I mean talk about quickly. We're not going to sit here and dive in on names. You guys want to interrupt me? You can drop some love. There's 4 ways of doing it. You see it right there. And so you guys want to interrupt me? That's the way to do it, because I got a lot of information. And I want to make sure I get it out here this is the finale, but it's going to be a long finale because we're talking about these are the names that are most viable for this. That's all I give it. I don't care what college you like. I don't care if you like UCF, Ohio State, Texas. I don't give a good damn about any of that. want what's best for that star. That's all I care about. And the way we do that, one of the ways we're doing it is by taking a good look, a dive in what the Cowboys 100,000% have showed interest in for this upcoming 2023 NFL draft. So far, we know 23 or 24, maybe even 25 of the 30 national visits, the Cowboys, the top 30 visits that we brought in. We know about 25 out of those 30 guys. The number is misconstrued sometimes. Sometimes you have, is this guy really on? Is that guy really on? We don't really know because some of these guys are Dallas Day guys. They don't count as the national top 30 visits. Some of these guys we liked at the Combine. Some of these guys we liked at Senior Day, at the Pro Day. So there's different kinds of interest levels on this group of guys we're going to discuss here. So I'm going to break it down here, but I want to make sure everybody knows that we are clearly, the Cowboys are bringing in certain positions that we definitely like and bringing in some positions we definitely, I would say, are not too sure about yet as far as, or at least they like, but maybe later on in the draft. So I'm going to break that down in a minute. First, a big shout out. The man, Landlord from Alabama with that 5 on it. Much love, Landlord. Sub it up to him, guys. He said, "Who is your guy at 26?" Man, it's we've been talking about this one for a while. I mean, Steve Avila, but I'm not screaming it like that. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, it's like it's an overreach at 26. I would rather trade back for the most part unless something happens, right?
I know, I'm just having some fun.
No tight end, no running back. That's kind of my look on that.
Look, I like to be a shit starter sometimes.
You're tight end.
I'm still not, again, I would not be upset with Avila. I would feel better if it was specifically Michael Mayer. Like, that's the only tight end that I would like to see at 26. Otherwise, just, I don't know, fuck around with literally anything else at that point. It just, pass. I guess no receiver there either. Just as a blanket statement.
Well, and we're going to talk about what you think about this, baby, because we're going to, actually, I should say this earlier, but we are planning in the next couple of days, this weekend, okay? We might go live, 2 more times, so Friday, Saturday, Friday, Sunday. But the important thing is that on one of these next upcoming days this weekend, Fan Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, we are going to have a live stream, a different style. We always do that. We started this whole interactive live streams with the Madden stuff. And now we're going to try to do something a little different to get you guys truly to make your votes count. And how bad do you want your vote to count? We're going to try to do a 7-round mock draft. And that's all. We're not going to do no news. It's going to be a 7-round mock draft, a little bit of news. But it's going to be all about the mock draft. And we're going to have you guys partaking in it with us. Hopefully.
No, we need your help to make these picks. So.
We'll need your help. We're going to have a voting situation. We're going to have ways you can boost your favorite draft pick each round. And, we'll go over that over the weekend when we do it. So make sure you guys stay around for that special coming up, yes, this weekend. Now, as I was saying this, much love to the Landlord, by the way, from Alabama up on that board. But I wanted to say that when it comes to the positions, baby, let's look at this. I'm not going to say player names now. I'm just going to be general here. Mm-hmm. The Cowboys are on board for a receiver somewhere in this draft. No question.
No surprises either.
You put Gallup, Jalen Tolbert basically on notice. Get your stuff together, right? 15 of the 89 names on our list of interest, 15 of them are receivers. So the Cowboys right now, guys, when you look at day 1 or day 2 receivers, we have about 12 guys we could take in those. And I said rounds 1, 2, or 3, day 1 or day 2. Now cornerback, we have a lot of cornerbacks we have on this list. Top 3 of our 4 guys right now, we got Diggs, you got Stephon Gilmore, and you got Jordan Lewis. 3 of these 4 guys, other than Bland, they have expiring contracts. So cornerback is definitely something to keep an eye on for this draft. 5 of the 10 guys that we have shown interest in at cornerback projected to go in the top 2 rounds. So cornerback, receiver, definitely an earlier kind of day 1, day 2 pick. Even though we said no receiver, I believe it's to be 2nd round or 3rd round. Dak Prescott, no concerns. The Cowboys are only looking at back-end quarterbacks on day 3. For rounds 4, 5, 6, 7, you might get a quarterback. Dak haters, go back to your coffins and sleep again in darkness.
Scorpio did want to know, what's the point of bringing in a guy like Bryce Young as part of your 30 visit knowing he's not going to fall?
Cowboys didn't bring him in. The Cowboys didn't bring him in. So that's that. So that's the answer to that one, right? So Cowboys, looking like to take a running back too, right? We know they're going to probably grab a running back somewhere. But where, right? The prospects that we like right now, the ones that we like the most, between the second, third, and fourth rounds of the running backs we've shown interest in. The names aren't important because I think sometimes it might be just the position that's important for in these rounds where these guys fall in, right? But to me, there's also a couple of late round, like day 3 guys that the Cowboys have in case they don't get their day 2 guys. Round 2.
As long as it's not a day 1 guy at running back,
I agree.
You're good. I'm fine with that.
The Cowboys, we know the Cowboys sometimes stay away from prospects, rookie prospects, when they're interested to basically not put all this hope onto one guy, which is what we did last year with Jalen Tolbert, unfortunately for him. So again, in 2022, you saw that happen with Tyler Smith, and he luckily was able to barrel through those situations with Tyron Smith. And Tyler Smith was able to start, when you talked about it, week 1, impactful left tackle and starting with minimal issues, which was incredible.
You love to see it.
Yeah, so I mean, that is fantastic. Again, if everyone knew about Tyler Smith and who was going to do this here, Tennessee or other team would have jumped us to grab him. Guarantee that. Offensive line, that's kind of been Steve Avila's kind of been my guy, but I think we Cowboys go almost anywhere. That's what's tricky about this offseason. A lot of the moves we made was to solidify the defense. We made a couple things on offense to fill in the little holes, right? So to me, the only prospect right now, there's only one prospect I think that on the 30 visit list, the official 30 visit list that the Cowboys have at offensive line that are first or second round guys. I think the guy from Tennessee is added to this list. He's a first round guy. So to me, Steve Avila is more of a second-round type of guy, and that is where that's where the trick is of you pick Avila at 26 so high. We'll see what happens, guys. But there's 20 total offensive linemen in this kind of group of guys the Cowboys like, and a lot of them are more to the end of the draft or middle of the draft. So there's no guarantee Cowboys will go offensive line in the first round or second round of this draft. So now, Cowboys almost always take a linebacker and a defensive tackle. Almost every draft, we grab a defensive tackle, whether we like it or not. We might not like the defensive tackle they pick, but we've always, the last couple of years, defensive tackle. And the last couple of years, we drafted a linebacker somewhere in the draft.
My early prediction is defensive tackle in the 5th round, but that
might be the most likely
one. Throwing it out there.
But right now, those are thin when you look at the interest from the Cowboys for this year. Usually we do it. This year, it's a little thinner on the interest. 5 tackles, Mozzie Smith being one of those guys, and 5 linebackers.
I wonder if maybe that's the reason why we also went after LVE and Hankins and these other types of guys, in the sense that we normally maybe wouldn't have made those moves if the Cowboys are looking at the draft and saying, oh no, we'll just draft somebody to help us out there too. They had to invest a little more on the free agent side of things because there wasn't as much help in the draft. So I don't know, just speculating.
So that's a good point. Again, solidifying those 2 spots with our own guys. And I say Hankins really half of your own guy, but him with LV is a must together. And they did that enough in case we don't draft those positions. Like you said, it's kind of thin. We don't have many guys in there. 5 and 5 for the entire draft as 89 guys. So just saying, at 26, landlord asked about picking 26. I think Cowboys probably stay at 26, but it's not out of the question. That's why I'm saying I'm hearing a couple little tidbits of maybe the Cowboys making a move, not up, that'd be stupid, but down. So again, Cowboys, if they don't have a lot of interest in these names you hear me talk about now, I'm going to talk about them individually. There's going to be some guys who'll be like, but there's not really many first round early guys that we're looking at. Does that mean we're trading down? Possibly. Could mean. You never know. But
sounds like we're definitely managing our expectations. I'll give you that.
There's only 15 first round graded guys in this draft by the majority of the NFL teams out there. And we're going to talk about only 3 of them land on our list. That are top 15 that we even have a chance to get. The Cowboys have not shown a lot of interest in edge defenders this offseason as well, this for this draft. And so Sam Williams, Micah Parsons, those are the key pass rushers, I think, for the future of us here. But again, we have 4 edge guys that we have on this 30-visit list. 4 edge guys on the 30-visit list. And one of them is a first rounder, which might not be there. So we'll have to wait and see. Now,
I just realized one last thing draft-wise. Do you think that one of the other reasons why this draft could be a little bit more offense-heavy is just, again, with Dan Quinn's possible future not necessarily known. Like, do the Cowboys want to invest in like a Dan Quinn project guy?
That's the thing.
You know, like basically taking a big chance on a guy that you bring in that, you know, then Dan Quinn goes and then you're kind of stuck with this kind of
they want somebody for the system,
mark.
for this defense, because the scheme and defense is more important than necessarily Dan Quinn being there. Although he's the biggest reason why this works. But if you get somebody that understands the scheme and can kind of do the similar things with the players, still should work. It just, I think
that's what I mean more about like taking a chance or a risk defensively. I think that we got our guys back because, like you said, we know them for Dan Quinn, and these guys we pick will be more depth and kind of filler for the defense possibly. In my opinion, unfortunately, offense is where we're going to probably have to target more skill level stuff first day, second day, in my opinion. So let's talk about it, because again, at tight end, the last thing before I get into the names, at tight end, Cowboys don't seem very interested. Imagine, I know a lot of people talking about Mayer and Kincaid. Yeah.
Cowboys aren't looking that interested. When you look at the list of guys here, guys, it's a very deep class, but we don't have that many tight ends in this that we are actually interested in. I'm putting on air quotes. Now, let's look at this, guys. Let's look at it by grouping. Top 15 ranked analytical players here by the teams, not by me or Twitter, by the teams. More or less, they're top 15 players in this. It's only 15 first-round top grades. And out of those 15, we've seen 3 of them. We have interest in 3 of these guys. 30 visit guy, we know for sure. Wide receiver, Jackson Smith and Jibba. He is the number 1 receiver in this draft. He will not get to the Cowboys. If he does, it's a CeeDee Lamb situation, and the Cowboys will draft him. But the Cowboys met him at the Combine. They gave him a 30 visit. He's one of their top guys. If he falls down, he's the CeeDee Lamb of this draft. I'm going to say it like that. Mm-hmm. At 26. He won't, though. Don't get your hopes high. He ain't going to come to us. But the other guys that are in this top 15 list of talent that we met with, Joey Porter Jr. I personally love this guy. I didn't think he'd even get to us, and I don't think he will. But a cornerback, solid, top prospect from Penn State. The Cowboys never brought him in for the visit. They talked to him in depth at the Combine, scouting Combine. Cowboys also showed interest in another cornerback at the Combine, Devin Witherspoon from Illinois. So those are the 3 guys in the top 15 that the Cowboys showed interest in. And now those 3, JSN is the guy that they would definitely grab if he drops to them, for sure, without question. So those are the guys we would get if we were to trade up.
Okay.
Please understand. The only chance we get any of those 3 names that the Cowboys showing interest in is if we traded up, or we get lucky and one of them falls to 26.
Just throwing this out there, I don't think any of those guys is worth trading up for. But
agreed.
That's just my opinion.
If they don't fall to 26, they ain't coming to Dallas. And the specific guy is JSN. I mean, we might go with another guy that even if one of these other corners are on there, Joey Porter, we might go another different direction because we got defense kind of solidified.
What about the other side of things? Well, let's say we stay right where we're at.
Well,
right?
at the consensus board across the analytics, the NFL teams, more or less, you look at the consensus board of where these guys fall in the draft, and the list of players that should be available either at 26, of course after 26, but even a little bit before 26, that could trickle down to us. I'm going to read you a quick list of guys. Wide receiver Jordan Addison. Michael Mayer, tight end. Broderick Jones, offensive tackle. Miles Murphy, edge rusher. Darnell Wright, offensive tackle. Brian Branch, safety. Deontay Banks, cornerback. Quentin Johnson, receiver. Brian Brees, interior defensive lineman. Kalijah Kanzi, who's a guy a lot of people like out there, but the Cowboys haven't brought him in, I don't think. We'll talk about that. Kalijah Kanzi at defensive tackle. Jahmyr Gibbs at running back. Offensive guard, Osiris Torrance. Cornerback, Emmanuel Forbes. Will McDonald IV, which is a guy that Dan Quinn worked out. I'm going to keep reminding everybody that. At the edge rushing spot. And tight end on this list, Darnell Washington, believe it or not. So, just some name. Out of those guys, I think there's only 2 or 3 guys the Cowboys have not brought in on that list. At that 26 spot, which are the guys that are truly candidates that can be picked at 26 that the Cowboys have interest in? Whether at the Combine, at the Scouting Combine, at the Pro Days, Senior Bowl, or specifically the top 30 visits. Of course, there's also Dallas Day guys. QJ, Quentin Johnson from TCU is one of those guys. They have 5 guys.
Where's Q-Ball in the chat?
They have 5 guys that fall in this category that we have brought in for a 30 visit. Quentin Johnson, receiver from TCU. Zay Flowers from Boston College, wide receiver. Tight end, Darnell Washington from Georgia. Again, that was more of a newer one. I talked about Darnell White, also new. The offensive lineman, the right tackle. They're talking about not good at the left tackle from Tennessee. He's on this list. The Cowboys brought him in. And edge rusher Will McDonald, which again, Dan Quinn loves this guy. One of the few edge rushers on our list. But that's the 30 visit guys that we have brought in that would fall at 26 for us. So you're seeing a couple receivers, a tight end offensive lineman.
Get me all that excited.
But then when you look at other meetings and interests, there's 6 other players. Jordan Addison from USC at the Combine. All these are at the Combine. The Cowboys met with these guys. Jordan Addison, Dalton Kincaid from Utah. We talked about him. Broderick Jones from Georgia. Osiris Torrance from Florida. Cornerback Kylie Ringo from Georgia. And defensive back Brian Branch from Alabama. A lot of these names you heard me, just you hearing the Cowboy interest, are all the guys that'll be available there at 26. I still vote trade down.
Again, if you forced me to pick there, I would probably go with Osiris, personally. But that still feel like, even just saying it out loud after hearing all those names, it's like, one, still kind of feels like a long shot, and two, just there's no standouts on that list. Every single one of those guys, I'm like, that's fine.
And that's why that's
fine.
And that's why we're doing this kind of preview for the true This is not me wanting this guy from this college. This is the truth. This is not me wanting anything. This is what the Cowboys are saying they want. That's why this is extremely important, I believe. So, like, exactly what your feeling is. Nobody stands out here in the first round. It's a reach in the first round pretty much across the board.
And I'm going to give the Cowboys front office a little bit more credit than usual, because I can't imagine if I'm Jerry and Steve and McClay that I'm looking at those list of guys and I'm feeling all that excited either. So to me, like, you know, is there any talks or any points there as far as like what happens if we try to trade back?
Here's the thing.
Right?
So
just
that takes me to,
how does that change things?
So let's get to it. So that is another group here. These are early second rounders before we pick.
Okay.
Like second rounders.
Guys that'll definitely be gone if we wait till our second round pick.
So this is if a trade back happens, this is the guys you want to get. All right. These are the guys that fall in the trade back in the first round into the early second, let's say. 30 visit guys, only 5 of them that fall in this group.
Okay.
Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee. I talked a lot about him. And I think he, to me, is more interesting than some of these other picks I just mentioned in the first group of guys. At the 26th spot, Steve Avila, offensive guard from TCU. Obviously, right? I mean, I know you're talking to chat, but obviously, Steve Avila.
I'm responding to Seabass, who said, "Explain why do you trade down? These guys aren't talented enough for UMCF." And I said exactly, Seabass, not talented enough for us to pick at the first round.
Not at first round, at 26. I want to clarify that. We might trade back and trade at 32, and when we get a third rounder, I'm cool with getting all those guys. That's fine. But you trade back, you can still get Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee. You trade back, and you get Steve Avila from TCU, where you're supposed to get him, not as a reach. The Cowboys,
early in the second.
All these names are not guys I like. These are the guys the Cowboys like. Not me, not you guys, not you, baby. The Cowboys. That's what matters, not what you want or what that YouTuber
what
wants.
I want definitely matters.
The YouTuber that they want, the YouTuber we want, all these YouTubers, they go out for the guys they want.
I want this YouTuber. Well, I'm saying you said the YouTuber.
No, I'm saying what I'm trying to say is that these YouTubers out there wanting this guy, wanting this kind of draft. But I want to get the realistic draft. I'm not saying it's accurate 100%, obviously, but I want an idea of the reality of what's going to come in a week from now or 2 weeks from now. So, again, would you want to go with some of these guys I just mentioned with a Quentin Johnson, who's got not the best rating for me as a first round 26th pick, or would you trade back and get Jalen Hyatt at receiver? Do you want Osiris Torrance at 26, or do you want to trade back and get Steve Avila at 35? Yeah. I'm just saying, like, to me, is night and day that you can trade back a little bit, get the same talent, and you're not reaching anymore. But while adding a third round draft pick easy or higher. So you look at cornerback, Emmanuel Forbes, the skinny cornerback from Mississippi State. He's a guy that's available in the early to mid second round before we pick at 58. Linebacker Drew Sanders from Arkansas, do not want him, but again, he's a guy that just met with the Cowboys on a top 30 visit. And of course, the new one from today, Mozzie Smith from Michigan. The one tech, nose tackle, 3-down type of guy. I know he was in trouble with gun charge. That's why I brought him down a little bit. But if he's done with that, we're in good shape to get someone like Mozzie Smith, in my humble opinion. So again, these are the 5 guys that are falling in that early second, mid second round group that the Cowboys have interest in. Edge rusher Felix Anudike Uzuma from Kansas State. The Cowboys liked him at the Combine. He falls in that 26 through 58 range. But I'm more into like the Hyatt receiver, into an offensive guard like Steve Avila. Mozzie Smith from Michigan, we trade back, grab him. At that point, it's a value pick. That's what I would try to do. Rather than going with the guys we're at 26, you can add somebody either the same or similar or even better 10 picks later and still add a third-round pick, a top 100 pick to your arsenal. We want to trade a package together, who knows. But we got another pick in the arsenal. And that's what I care about. With the talent we're looking at, that's where we're looking. That, to me, is where it would be best. Keep this all in mind, guys, when we do our special weekend mock draft with you guys being I want to know what you guys think. Yes. Interactively, votes, interactively, ways of pumping up your picks based on something. We'll talk about it coming soon this weekend, so make sure you join us for that, for the live stream. Now, second round candidates that we like, that we have interest in. There's about 10 guys that fall at 58. At pick 58 for us, there's 10 guys total, but the guys that we have 30 visit with or a Dallas Day visit. Josh Downs from UNC, the Cowboys like him. Wide receiver, I think he'd be again, for a receiver, I think that's a guy to kind of keep an eye on. Value kind of pick there at the second round over a guy like Mingo that they had as a receiver for us through Mel Kiper.
Yeah.
Tyreek Stevenson, who the Cowboys also just recently kind of confirmed that they brought in, cornerback from Miami. He's one of the 30 visit guys. So is Trenton Simpson from Clemson, the skinny linebacker. I don't want a linebacker in second round. And then, of course, Marvin Mims, wide receiver from Oklahoma, a Dallas Day guy. The Cowboys definitely are interested in these 4 guys I'm speaking of here for that 58th pick in this draft. The other guys that have interest is receiver Cedric Tillman from Tennessee. He had a private workout with the Cowboys. Tyler Scott, Cincinnati, at the Combine. Anton Harrison, offensive tackle at the Combine. John Michael Schmitz from Minnesota at the Combine, the interest. Edge rusher Derek Hall from Auburn at the Combine. And Julius Brents from Kansas State also at the Combine, cornerback. These guys they have interest in, but not as much as those top 30 guys I just talked about or those Dallas Day guys. So for that second round pick, to me, there's so many good players here in this second round that I would hope the Cowboys can maybe have 2 picks in this round and maybe have 2 picks in the third round.
There.
We get 2 and 2. That's going to be the trade back effect would help us greatly. And you can pick up a Mozzie Smith.
It feels like you can get the most impact from this maybe somewhat lackluster draft class by getting the bulk of your picks at the spot where you can have the most impact, which is somewhere in the second and third rounds, right? That's where you get the most bang for your buck, so to speak.
For our team, it is. In my opinion,
for our positions of need, of course,
and where we're sitting in the draft, way in the back, you got to put that in perspective. So if you trade back and you get 2 and a third high round, let's say you get a third round pick moving back 10 spots, but it's a high third round pick. That'd be great to get another second and an early third. We can get guys like Mozzie Smith. We can get guys like Steve Avila, and then we can get a guy like Josh Downs or something like this at receiver. And that's 3 out of those. Those are 3 picks right there. Boom, boom, boom. Just knock them out like that in the second/beginning of the third round. Just an option. Just throwing it out there. So second round candidates at that spot, you're seeing that. Now let's kind of break it down a little more general. We're gonna go round by round, but third round candidates that the Cowboys are interested in. Third rounders. This might tell you more where the Cowboys are going, guys. And again, remember, guys, the guys I'm going to mention are all top 100
prospects,
candidates, so to speak. Yeah, prospects. So when you look at this list, guys, that I've put together here, 30-day visits, we had 5 guys with 30-day visits and 1 guy from a Dallas Day visit. Rashee Rice, I know that's Jason Renfro's guy. He's from SMU, wide receiver Jonathan Mingo, a third rounder. I saw Mel Kiper put him second round. No. So Jonathan Mingo from Ole Miss. You got Jacqueline Roy. We just talked about him. Mozzie Smith's more of a mid-second rounder. We're talking about an end of the third rounder in Jacqueline Roy from LSU, defensive tackle. LaMarvin Overshown, which again is a guy that Texas linebacker is kind of going to go from safety to linebacker. He's a guy that Cowboys brought in for a visit. And the guy I like at running back, Zach Evans. Now that's a third round, maybe a little bit high, but you're looking at the end of the third round. He probably won't be there at the end of the fourth. So Zach Evans, to me, is one of the guys, the best running backs that fit the Zeke snap count we're going to need from him. To fit that kind of role. And I don't need I don't mind a fourth round running back and something like this. So we'll see if the Cowboys go Zach Evans or wait to another round. But that running back, you can see the Cowboys are starting to get interested in running backs now, third, fourth, and then you can see fifth round. You can see a lot more running backs in this list. So Zach Evans, I love him. Third round, maybe a little too early, but possible. Cornerback Trevius Hodges Tomlinson, TCU. He was a Dallas Day specific, so maybe not as important, but still somebody to keep an eye on there. Third round caliber type of guy. And another guy that the Cowboys liked, guys that the Cowboys liked and met and had interest with, a lot of running backs in the third round. Running back Devon Ashante from Texas A&M, great breakaway speed. He had a private workout with the Cowboys. Tyjae Spears, Tulane, private workout with Texas running back Rashawn Johnson, the backup to Bijan Robinson. I love this wide receiver, Tank Dell from Houston, private workout for him. Running back Tank Bigsby, Auburn at the Combine. So if they don't even draft any of these running backs, they might be looking at running back in third and fourth round. Keep that in mind. I mean, you're looking at a lot of running backs of interest.
Fine with that.
A lot of running backs of interest in that third round. I prefer fourth, but you're seeing a lot of interest in the third round for running backs. Defensive tackle Jervon Dexter from Florida at the Combine. Offensive lineman Tyler Steen from Alabama. And safety J.L. Skinner from Boise State at the Combine. All these guys have interest for the Cowboys for this upcoming draft, and this is third round kind of graded guys. Fourth round. Let's go into the fourth round. Now, this is day 3 now. 30 visit guys, only one guy that fits in that group. One guy. Running back. You guys are feeling what's happening?
I think I see what's happening here.
Running back Kendre Miller from TCU. Other meetings of interest. Running back Israel Abanikanda. I don't know if I said it. Abanikanda from Pittsburgh at the Combine. Running back Eric Gray from Oklahoma at the Combine. Do you understand? There's like 6 running backs we just talked about in the third or fourth round. So I'm trying to paint the picture. I don't know the name, but I have a feeling that third or fourth round you can see a running back drafted by the Cowboys. Yeah? No? It seems like it. Feels like it.
Yeah, very likely.
Raheem Jarrett, Maryland at the Combine. They looked at him there. Same thing with tight end Luke Schoonmaker from Michigan. The Cowboys liked him early on. We'll see if they like him in the fourth round. Offensive tackle, again, that could be like a Dalton Schultz replacement pick there. But offensive tackle Wayne Morris from Oklahoma at the Combine. All these are Combine guys. Offensive guard Andrew Voorhees. And from USC. But again, he got hurt big time. Remember he got hurt? And I think he's going to be missing a year or something, so he's going to be crossed off the list there for the Cowboys. The offensive lineman.
Maybe he's like a Damone Clark-ish type guy. In
maybe.
the sense of we purposely draft him maybe a little later knowing he's going to be out for
right
a
now
year.
he's listed as a fourth rounder. I don't know if that's after the injury now. It's a fourth rounder, but my point here is that Cowboys, it would be a mistake to draft a guy like that in the fourth round, a high-value pick still. In my opinion, it's still a value pick.
For a guy who's not going to play.
He's not going to play this year. He's not Damone Clark in that sense, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens with Voorhees. Jarrett Patterson, Notre Dame, offensive lineman, and defensive tackle Brian Young from Alabama. All these guys were Combine interests. The only actual 30-visit guy was Kendre Miller from TCU. But again, I want to make sure everyone understands. Third round and fourth round is where you're seeing, you're hearing, you're feeling the Cowboys' interest in running back. Third and fourth rounds. Fifth round. And even sixth round. Let's go on both of these because the Cowboys, I mean, again, we traded away a bunch of our fifth rounders. We have, one fifth rounder left. We got back a sixth rounder. We got one sixth rounder for this draft. I think we have 2 sixth rounders. I don't know. But my point is we have 30 visit guys that would be in the fifth round, sixth round kind of possibilities for the Cowboys to draft. This is where that quarterback comes up now in this situation from Purdue. We just talked about him earlier today. Aiden O'Connell from Purdue. So he's the guy the Cowboys obviously brought in, they like, and he's a fifth round grade. Sixth round possible grade. I think he's more a fifth rounder. Tight end Cameron Latu from Alabama. He's a newer kind of 30-day visit guy. Offensive lineman, and a lot of you guys like this guy, Antonio Mafi from UCLA. Problem with him, a lot of you guys wanted him like in the second round. That ain't happening. Should not happen. That'd be a wasted pick. But the fifth round, if you're looking for an offensive lineman that's developmental UCLA, that's a guy you can draft there. Edge rusher Villami Fehoko. I know it says junior here. I'm assuming he's a junior, but San Jose.
In relation to Simi?
I don't know. Fajoko, San Jose State.
How many Fajokos you know running around out there? But okay.
San Jose State, Valami, maybe somebody knows. Valami Fajoko. And then defensive lineman Tyler Lacey from Oklahoma State. Quarterback, which I just talked about today as well, Clayton Tune. He's a Dallas Day guy, not a top 30 guy. Then you have Max Duggan, quarterback from TCU. The Cowboys love Aiden Connell from Purdue. They like this Clayton Tune from Houston. And they love Max Duggan from TCU. All these guys, all these three quarterbacks are all guys the Cowboys have interest in, and they're all guys that are falling in the 5th or 6th round. You tell them about a quarterback, I'm telling you 5th or 6th round is when you're seeing the Cowboys draft a quarterback to push Cooper Rush going into the future. You know what I'm saying? Get Will Grier off the roster. I don't know, but that's what McCarthy is going to do. Guarantee it. Guaranteed, almost, unless they're gone early, they're going to be one of these three guys will probably be drafted 6th round at the latest. So again, just want to throw out a little breadcrumb blueprint here, what's going down for the Cowboys. Defensive linebacker there, D. Winters from TCU, a Dallas Day guy, and punter, even a punter we brought in, guys. Not a kicker, a punter. Michael Turk, Oklahoma, Dallas Day guy as well. So these are the guys, and again, there's 9 guys the Cowboys have interest in the 5th and 6th round of top 30 or Dallas Day guys. So very important to note that there. But what about the other guys they have interest in? There's 9 other guys in these 2 rounds, 5th and 6th, that we Cowboys would have interest in. Not top 30 interest, but combine, private workouts. 2 guys in private workouts, Payne Durham from Purdue, tight end, and offensive lineman Juice Scruggs from Penn State. Those guys had private workouts, interest a little bit there. And the rest of these guys are all from the combine. Ryan Hayes, offensive lineman tackle from Michigan. Offensive tackle Asim Richards from UNC. Offensive lineman Alex Forsyth from Oregon. DJ Johnson, Oregon. Another lineman, cornerback Mekhi Gardner from LSU. Safety Trey Dean III from Florida. And safety Jay Ward from LSU at the combine. But you know what's funny about these names? I see a lot of offensive linemen in this 5th, 6th round.
So O-line depth. Basically, maybe,
possibly. I'll see a couple safeties and corners in here too. So you're looking at a quarterback, safety, and offensive lineman, and these in the 5th and 6th round. Those are with the Cowboys breadcrumbs. This is what they're showing us. Now I've only we're at the end of this thing here. When you look at these 7th round guys and the 7th round and the undrafted candidates, of course it's gonna be a very long list here because there's a lot of guys. The Cowboys, there's 29 guys that are 7th round or undrafted the Cowboys have interest in. 30 visit guys and Dallas Day guys. It's 15 total guys. Again, 7th round and undrafted. So keep that in mind. This is not the 1st round guys. Here's some names. 30 visits and Dallas Day guys. All right. Xavier Gibson from Stephen A. Austin. Stephen F. Austin. I'm sorry. Stephen A. Smith. Stephen F. Austin. Xavier Gibson, wide receiver. Tight end Braden Willis from Oklahoma, offensive lineman, which I said his name multiple times. Ilum Manning from Mark's home state right there, Hawaii. He's in the mix here in the 7th round. Offensive lineman Mark Evans II from Arkansas Pine Bluff. It was a virtual Zoom meeting, but it was a 30 visit. Edge rusher B.J. Thompson from Sam Houston. Edge rusher Jarrell Johnson from Liberty. Nickel linebacker Marty Mapu from Sacramento State. We talked a little bit about him. He's a nickel linebacker. He's a coverage linebacker. Interesting there. Could he be a 7th round pick that pushes Jabril Cox? Just saying. Then you have safety Tanner McAllister from Ohio State. Questionable in the mix there, but another quarterback here. If you don't draft anybody, he might be an undrafted. Logan Bonner, Utah State. He was a Dallas Day guy. Malik Knowles from Kansas State, Dallas Day guy. Another receiver. But again, we have what?
No, I said okay.
Kalan Harris, Oklahoma Baptist, a regional guy, a local guy, Dallas Day. Offensive lineman Alan Ali from TCU, Dallas Day. Defensive tackle Calvin Avery, Illinois, Dallas Day from the local area. Jimmy Phillips Jr., linebacker, SMU, a Dallas Day guy. And Robert Barnes, linebacker, Colorado, Dallas Day. All these guys I just mentioned, every single one of all 15 of these guys, 7th rounders or undrafted. So you'll hear a lot of these names. Promise you will hear these names on 7th round or after the draft. Guarantee it.
Oh yeah.
Now, other guys the Cowboys are interested in that are not, as let's say, not at the top of their list, but still showing interest. Another quarterback. The got 2 quarterbacks the Cowboys could take.
Cooper Rush needs to be replaced.
I mean, they're going to probably grab one of these quarterbacks at the least undrafted. And this Lindsey Scott Jr. would be one of those guys. He had a private workout. Eric Scott, cornerback, Southern Miss, private workout. Tyron Evans, Louisville at the Combine. You had I can't say his name. Sarodrick Thompson, running back from Texas. Sarodrick Thompson from Texas Tech, a running back at the Combine. Mitchell Tinsley from Penn State, wide receiver, Combine. Offensive tackle at the Combine from LSU, Anthony Bradford. You got offensive tackle Connor Gavin from Baylor. And then, let me see here, offensive lineman TJ Bass from Oregon, Combine. Again, a lot of offensive linemen, a couple running backs, quarterbacks. These will be the undrafteds that fall through. If we did not draft a guy, we're definitely going to get one of these guys. And if we did draft a guy, you might still get one of these guys in the undrafteds. A couple more guys that were here for Combine. Cornerback Miles Brooks, cornerback Arquan Bush from Cincinnati. You had from the Combine safety Shamari Connor from Virginia Tech and safety Brandon Hill from Pittsburgh. And a couple of guys at workouts, MJ Anderson from Iowa State. Cornerback Tyler Richardson from Tiffin. and I'm trying to see. That's the list here. I think that's the handmade written list here. I know a lot of people have their lists. That's our list of the trackable names. I think it was 89 guys that you just heard me go through.
Are actually interested in
that. There's definitely some level of interest
possibly available at each of those corresponding levels.
Yeah,
rounds, not levels.
Yeah. So I mean, and again, it's basically interest versus round versus talent, and that's what we're kind of seeing right now in this discussion. I'm curious, any kind of thoughts?
Yeah, of course. Real quick,
the family here?
Randy Stites, he was saying, A.T. Perry, 6'4", 200 pounds. He runs a 4.4. He had 2,400 yards, 26 touchdowns in the last 2 years in college at Wake Forest. So
the Cowboys didn't look at him, though. Did he? Was that one of the... What was the name? Was it
A.T. Perry?
I don't think the Cowboys took a look at him, unfortunately. Again, and I want to make sure I say this. The Cowboys did not take a look at Tyler Smith last year, but they brought in 5 top offensive linemen. And they picked Tyler Smith. You can see.
So there's definitely a good chance that at least a handful of these guys will, be guys that we didn't necessarily look at.
Right.
But for the majority of the rest of the draft, it will be one of these guys that we mentioned here tonight, for sure. Like I said, around 80% of the draft will probably be right here.
I want to get that name again. Just make sure.
So it was A.T. Perry.
A.T. Perry. I don't know where. I don't think the Cowboys brought him in. So.
Well, again, Drums and Cowboys brings up another great point here, though. He said Will McClay always seems to find great picks in the late round, like Deron Bland.
Always.
Those are important visits right now. So again,
exactly the depth stuff. Exactly, 100%.
No one's discounting the importance of your first or second or third round picks and stuff like that. But we all know Will McClay butters his bread in those day 3 picks where he just comes out swinging.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, what's up, Pioneer? Much love to you. Frame Rippers throwing out there. What was your last comment before that?
Voodoo.
Out of all the running backs we talked about, only Spears showed up in his games that mattered. He took out UCF and USC.
Taji Spears. And even though that's true, I mean, I still say the competitiveness of the opponent made a difference. I do think that I personally liked Evans from Ole Miss. To me, he's the guy that I said it from the beginning matches the Zeke hole that we have. You want to get a guy who can get those tough yards, who can catch and block. Zach Evans is that guy, but he's a 3rd or 4th rounder. We'll see what happens.
Tracy Buckner, much love. By the way, hope that family situation works out.
I got a shout
glad
out.
You're back here in the chat.
Yeah.
She said, so far Jerry's had a good offseason. I give him credit, but I pray him and Steven don't screw up this draft for us.
The only thing they can do is get involved and make a highlight move, some kind of Jerry Jones-like kind of move. That would suck ass. But hopefully the way the things are going, that will hopefully continue going the right way.
Agreed.
Speaking of the right way, we got the man, Randy Stites.
Randy.
Dropping that $2 holler. And I truly apologize, Randy.
Much love, Randy.
It was like 15 minutes ago, but I was in the middle of my draft breakdown. I'm going to clip that. I want to shave that. I want everybody to go back and watch these names I just talked about, because these are the names that Cowboys. I like other guys. But I'm not going to waste my time with that right now, because to me, that Cowboys' eyes are on other guys.
Like you said, the bulk of the guys that we draft or bring in or whatever, it's going to be one of those guys.
Agreed. Not every guy, but if it's not those guys, it's going to be the position. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be the position drafted over the actual name of that player. I think.
Well, what did Randy Stites have to say?
He said, "What about Bijan? Bijan's teammate. I'm sorry." from Texas, third rounder. And yes, sir, Randy, we discussed him in detail, actually. In another night, we discussed Rashawn Johnson in detail, but he was one of the guys that the Cowboys did.
Yeah, I think that might have been on Monday or Tuesday.
No, we went in detail. It was either Sunday or Tuesday. And we went in detail about him.
True, I guess we didn't go live on Monday.
But Rashawn Johnson, who I have here, let me just see here real quick. The Cowboys brought in the third round. That's why I said third round is important, guys. The Cowboys brought in Zach Evans from Ole Miss. Then we have interest. Now, we didn't bring in 30 visit guys, but we talked to them at the Combine. Devin Ashante from Texas A&M. Tyjae Spears, who is from Tulane in a private workout. And Rashawn Johnson from Texas. Private workout by the Cowboys. So these 3 guys in the third round, plus Zach Evans with a 30-day visit, which I like. Tank Bigsby also from Auburn, also part of this group. And even day 4, the only day 4 guy we brought in was a running back. To actual official visit from TCU. Kendre Miller, who might just fall as a local guy. I'm not sure. But we also brought in Israel Abanika, Eric Gray. These are other running backs that we have interest in the 4th round. So 4th, 5th round, 3rd or 4th round is the Cowboys' target, I believe, for one of these better running backs that fit our offensive scheme as like the 30, 40%, maybe 30% of the snaps. 8 snaps in a game, a couple blocks, a couple pass catches, and something. I don't know, but just doing the Zeke stuff. You might see something like that, like a Zach Evans, Israel Abanika, Kendre Miller, Eric Gray, Tank Bigsby.
There's a lot of
Tyjae Spears.
We're starting to see it.
Devin Ashante and Rashawn Johnson. That's when I thought Rashawn Johnson, because Randy Stites said Rashawn Johnson. Yes. I like him a lot. So 3rd round, 4th round, I'm down with the running back. So Randy Stites, yes. Much love.
I do have to get to that point where we're all
it is that
tears,
time.
But it is that time of night, guys. We do have to wrap things up here. But first, before we do, we have to shout out, the people making MCF happen here on the Almost Daily and Nightly. Sponsor
every other
months,
day right now.
Mark Hosepian, 8 weeks in a row. Much love to you, Mark.
Aikman, 8.
He's up to a 77. Tyron Smith up there representing, and of course, not the only one, representing in a back-to-back fashion, right? Yep. Jason Renfro, the Cash App King.
And the Venmo King. Again, it's
the Drop of Love King.
This
week, that's my temporary
We just call him the King. How about that? But we know the King is now officially Cash App and Venmo for the King. So it's a combo. Yes. Anybody who drops in Venmo is Cash App for us. So you can do it that way. And baby, the leader right now is going to be, I think, the Cash App and Venmo. He's a Cash App and Venmo leader right now. And that's Snug X, who's also the overall leader. He's Mark Hosepian's in 4th, Skeptical Fan in 3rd, Gloria in 3rd, but in 1st on both boards, Snug X. And we all know why he's here.
Again, huge shout out to everyone here. Let me do the final shout outs in the chat. But before that, guys, take a second to hit like, sub it up, hit that notification bell. I'm pretty sure everybody here has already done that.
And don't forget, in case. Yeah, and again, just a little last reminder, commercial break.
Yes,
the ways to help out the channel
drop the love in
currently.
The meantime. Through the Cash App, money sign My Cowboys Family. Have the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family. Of course, the regular PayPal link, and then the Streamlabs link, so your message shows up right here on screen. So, again, a great night to Rolando Rodriguez, Drums and Cowboys, Scorpio, much love. We have C Bass in the house, Frame and Rippers representing, much love to you. By the way, guys, very excited. Frame Rippers, Voodoo, working behind the scenes on hopefully my PC so that I can do a little casual gaming thing that I'm trying to do on the side there. So
we'll have a little fun with that too, guys, while MCF gets restacked and refixed and replenished.
Yes. Tracy Buckner, much love. Randy Stites, of course, representing. We have Pioneer in the house. Scorpio, much love. Jason Renfro.
By the way,
glad you're here.
Jason Renfro dropped $1, one little dollar, but $1 holler in the Cash App, and he's trickling up the board on that side of things. Much love to Jason Renfro. Appreciate the drops of love from above.
C Bass, Establish the Pass, much love. And by the way, guys, I did drop the link in the chat. Make sure to go check them out.
Yes.
Establish the Pass, a.k.a.
DCU.
Right?
By the way, Jason Renfro, with the drops of love there in the Cash App. He's back to back right now. He wants to go for that 3-peat, but I think he's in 3rd place behind, Snug X and Gloria currently on that board.
Landlord from Alabama, much love.
He dropped
Bruce
the love in there.
Got the toxic juice. He said, let's draft already. Meatball Ron in the house.
Meatball Ron.
Cameron C, what's up?
It's a twist. It's kind of a spinoff from my original character.
He likes the meatball subs from Subway.
That was my original character. I love that you've taken it to a new level, Meatball Ron. Thank you.
Cameron C,
everyone thinks that's me out there, by the way, in these YouTube streets.
Cactus G, much love to you.
I love it, though.
Donna in the house. You see, that's the number one reason it's not Mr. MCF, because Mr. MCF cannot do two things at the same time. There's no way he can be on screen here and chatting with you guys this way, and then also chatting in the chat. That's it. That's it. Done.
Throw them hearts up, guys. I don't know. Hit them hearts.
Let me see. Last in translation.
I can barely focus. I'm typing.
Thomas Garrett, the Superior Garrett. Robert Evil 2. We have Sugar Daddy in the house. That's Steak Aguilar 04. All of you guys. Stephen White, much love. Let me come back down. I think that's everyone here in the house. So yes, guys, drop the hearts, drop the little love. There we go. Again, thank you to everybody here joining us. But baby, why do we do what we do?
It's the info and all that good stuff. We talked about the breakdown of the draft and all that. I mean, I love it. I like to have my brain in order when it comes to who the Cowboys are interested in and where they may fall. But in the end, why do we do this on the nightly or almost nightly, every other nightly? Why? It's about that navy blue, silver 2. Star over everything. Guys, win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly here on MCF, we never, ever forget about that star being over everything. And here on My Cowboys Family, never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever, as always. Say it loud, say it proud, say it with us. Go Cowboys. Let's get that 6 and beyond. 5 is always sleepy. 5 is always greater than 1. What was that? It was sleep.
I was a little sleepy. But okay, it's okay. It's late. So
it's late night. Guys, thank you for rocking with us. We will try to be back either Friday or Saturday, definitely Sunday for the finale of the week. But whenever we're back.
Yeah, expect the interactive draft to hopefully be our next stream.
Well, that's why I said hopefully. It'll be either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. All right, and put it that way. If we do have a stream on Friday or Saturday, it might not be ready for the interactive stream. It will definitely be at the latest Sunday. But it may be tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. If news comes out that's important, we got to talk about it. We'll do the Friday stream and then maybe do the mock draft on Sunday. We'll see how that goes, guys. Either way, be back. You guys dropping the knowledge in the chat all night long. Truly appreciate that. The back and forth is very appreciated. Drops of love from above. Again, unfortunately, right now we're having some memberships issues and super chat issues, but that's the way you can help out the channel. Truly humbled by those that have done that this week, the last 2-3 months. So thank you for that, and the love and support cannot even be put in words. So appreciate you guys, and of course, all good things got to come to an end.
Yes.
And our new way of doing things here, guys.
What do we still have to do, baby, before we?
Before we can drop out and clock out officially, back tomorrow for another one, guys. Or Saturday this weekend with that interactive mock draft, and I truly need your interaction for that. Before we can drop out for the night, baby, what do we got to do?
We got to drop the beat.
Do. And that's it, guys. So again, thank you again.
No, it doesn't work that way. You gotta put the.
Nah, we do.
I know, but
guys,
that was lackluster.
Sleepy. Like you said, guys, thank you once again. Appreciate everybody here. Can't do it without you. Back tomorrow for another one. Tonight's stream is done, so never forget that navy blue, silver, and star. Here on another Cowboys chat on April 13th. There you go. Draft Insight. Yes, if you didn't catch this one, rewatch it. Comment below. Let us know what you think. Appreciate everybody for another MCF Cowboys chat. April 13th in the books. 2 weeks away until the draft day, guys. Can't wait. Thank you for joining us, guys. We'll see you back here for another one here in the next day or two. As always, much love to everybody out there. Never forget the number one thing. Go Cowboys!